Hi guys, welcome to Flip the Deck Tarot. In today's pick a card reading, we're going to be looking at the details of your soulmate connection. So this might be someone that's already in your life or someone that you haven't met yet, but we're going to be looking at every little intricate detail about what life is like with your soulmate. So we will be looking at the energy that kind of bonds the two of you together and what each of you contributes to the soulmate connection. We'll also look at the challenges or weaknesses that each of you face in this connection, and we're even going to dive into your everyday life, how the two of you relate to each other, and juicy stuff like that. So yeah, let's get into this. We have 4 readings to choose from today. For reading number 1, we have both the Unakite and the Hematite. So I'll give you a close-up of those stones. For reading number 2, we have Pyrite and Blue Lace Agate. And there's a close-up of your stones. For reading number 3, we have Black Tourmaline and Rose Quartz, and here's a close-up. And finally, for reading number 4, we have Blue Apatite and Amethyst, and there's a close-up of the 2 stones. So as always, take as much time as you need to select the reading that's calling to you the most. You might want to pause the video on the close-up of the stones if that will help you to make your selection. I'm going to have your timestamps in the description box down below. I'm going to hop in with reading number 1, and I will see you in your reading. Hi, number 1, if you were drawn to the Unakite and the Hematite, this is going to be your reading. We're going to find out all about what life is like with your soulmate. So before we jump into your reading, let's take a look at the stones that caught your eye and see what kind of symbolism we can pull from the stones that came out for you. These were actually randomly selected, so there might be a little bit of a message in here. So with the Unakite, we are looking at a very grounding stone. This stone is about balance, and it's also known to balance out the emotions. So there could be some sort of emotionally balancing effect that happens as a result of this soulmate connection. We also have the Hematite here, and Hematite is known to be a balancing and grounding stone as well, so definitely similarities. In addition to that, Hematite is known to clear away negative energies, so this soulmate connection might feel like a breath of fresh air to you and your soulmate. This could be about ushering in the new and kind of experiencing something new with this connection. So we'll see how that plays in, but I'm already picking up on this theme of balance and a very grounded energy. So let's take a look at your first oracle card, which is going to represent the energy between the two of you, what kind of holds this connection together, what bonds you together. So let's see what you have. Okay, so we have the Moon card. This card actually says soul on it, and this is card 2. Wow, okay. There's a lot of messages coming through already, particularly because of the card, not the cards, but the stones that were selected for you. So with the number 2, I'm back to that sense of balance that came through with the stones. Both of these stones have balancing properties, so there's always kind of a balancing act happening with 2s. I'm getting 2 of Cups. I'm getting Lovers vibes, which is interesting. There's definitely soulmate energy here. The card even says soul, and I find that to be very, very appropriate considering the reading that we're doing. So I'm really glad that this card came out for you and that this is the energy that's bonding the two of you together. That's beautiful. This is kind of telling me that the energy connecting you and your soulmate is the energy of love. It's the energy of balance, kind of feeling that equal give and take here, and like a deep level of soul connection. Yeah, it's very possible for you, number 1, that your intuition is going to is going to kick in when you first meet this person. Yeah, I just feel like something is going to tell you, like your gut is going to tell you that this person will play some sort of significant role in your life. And it feels like this is an intuitive hit or an intuitive knowing that you have very early on in this connection. I feel like even if you aren't thinking along the lines of finding your soulmate, or even if you're not really looking for this type of deep soul connection when this person first comes into your life, I feel like you will both feel that there is a significance to the two of you coming together, the two of you meeting. Let's just say it's like you make an immediate impression on each other. So there might be like lingering curiosity when you first meet this person. There might be like, I wonder why I can't get this person off of my mind, or that was so crazy how I met this person or how I ran into this person. There might be some element of that, and I feel like even if this isn't on your mind at all, it's like there's a little bit of knowing there. So I love that your intuition kicks in about this. Your intuition's telling you, hey, there's something significant here. There's something that you need to pay attention to here. I'm kind of feeling like your soulmate is in a way unmistakable to you, even if it takes you both a little bit of time to recognize specifically what is special about this connection, or to even recognize that this is a soulmate. There's almost this inner knowing, or that inkling that we were talking about, probably before you even have the words to describe it. The feeling that this is something big, or that this means something, and you might not even have the language, or this could be your soulmate's energy that I'm picking up on. They don't even really have the language to describe this. Like, they might not be someone who would go around saying like, hey, I think this is my soulmate, or I think this is a soulmate, or anything like that. But there is kind of this knowing. I hope that makes sense. It's kind of like you know before you consciously know, if that resonates with you, because sometimes our knowing is more about a feeling than like an intellectual thing that happens in our head. So sometimes we can kind of almost know with our body, like know deep in our soul that something is right, or something is meaningful. For some of you, I'm picking up on a little bit of twin flame energy here. Not necessarily a term that I like to throw around, because there's no reason to add, just to add any kind of confusion or add any kind of weight to this. So I will say, if that resonates with you, this can be confirmation for you if you have felt like you are a twin, or if you felt like you may have met your twin. This can be confirmation, but definitely this does not have to be a twin flame connection. We are looking at soulmate connections here. So take that if it resonates, leave it if it doesn't. What else? Yeah, with this moon energy here, the emotions, the love, and this kind of soulful union is going to be the center of this connection. So this is something that's built on emotional ground. This is something that is built from a foundation of love and caring, and that feeling of deep emotion. It kind of tells me that this is always kind of what the two of you come back to, or where you land. This love that you feel for each other is, I'm wanting this to make sense. I'm not sure if it's going to make sense, but it's like, it really is the foundation for this. It's the place where even when life gets crazy, when life gets hectic, you can always kind of fall back on the fact that you know that there's love there. You know that there's this deep, soulful connection there. You can always depend on that being there. Yeah, I feel like this is kind of, when everything else is stripped away, that love is always there. Some relationships kind of have this feeling of obligation or responsibility attached to them, and that's not the feeling I'm getting at all. So when I say that the foundation is love, I mean that there really isn't like this, I'm not having this feeling of like, well, you stay together because you have these certain commitments, or because you've made this commitment, or because you feel obligated in some way. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like this is a lot about choice. This feels like this is choosing to be with somebody who loves you and who you love, and just choosing to kind of like live in that space, and not feeling obligated to each other in any way, just making that choice every day. Yeah, this feels like pure love to me. I really hope that makes sense. So there's some sort of purity in this connection. It feels like something so pure that exists between you that it's almost like the rest of the world kind of fades away, and you can land in that place of love. You can feel secure in that place of love, and the two of you are always choosing each other. You choose to be in a connection where the love and the soul to soul connection is at the center of the union. I'm also picking up on a lot of chemistry and emotion between the two of you. With this kind of dark, sultry moon energy, I feel like I'm already getting some indications about your, we'll call it like your bedroom life. It's that sex life element. So I guess I was trying to avoid saying that, but now I've said it. So I'm already kind of getting like a vibe on that. We are going to look more into the romantic elements of this connection later on in the reading, but this is already kind of coming through. And the way I would say it's coming through is like it's on point. And I wouldn't expect any less, because we are seeing something here that's so balanced. I'm seeing this number 2. I'm picking up on the energy of the stones that were connected to this reading. There's a lot of balance here. There's a lot of reciprocal energy here. So I think that that element of your connection is, it's good. It's very good. There's a lot of passion, yes, but there's also that deep emotional connection, and that kind of amplifies all of the passion, and it allows you to really connect through that physical act, or the more physical elements of your relationship, of your romantic life. It's like there's nothing robotic about it. Let's just say it's like there's a lot of heat and passion and a lot of emotional energy between the two of you. So yeah, it's kind of spicy, and I feel like there's a lot of variety, and I want to say almost a lot of soul in a way, because it does kind of feel to me like it feels to me like I was saying, it's not robotic. Like sometimes connections with people can feel like it's like step 1, step 2, and this doesn't have that feeling at all. It feels like it's a lot about this soulful connection that the two of you feel together. And that is just being expressed in a physical way. So that is good. I love that that's already showing up for you, because that's a pretty good indication. So the next part of the reading, we're going to look at your biggest strength or your biggest contribution in this connection. So what do you kind of excel at? What are you offering? What are you bringing to the table? And we have the Mirror card for you. Okay. So what you're bringing to the table in this connection is really the ability to not only self-reflect, but also to help your partner reflect and to see things from a new perspective. You may sometimes do this by mirroring their energy. That wouldn't surprise me at all if you're like, if it comes very naturally to you to mirror this person's energy, because we have this energy of balance, and the number 2, again, you might even be someone who can pick up on other people's energy very easily. You might be a little bit empathic, but I feel like in general, it's that you're really helping them to see things more clearly. One thing that's standing out here is I think you help your soulmate to see themselves more clearly, because you kind of bring out this loving, more soulful side of them. You may help them to recognize their strengths, or to see what is so special or so lovable about themselves. Even, I feel like even at times, maybe you help them to recognize their weaknesses, or to recognize their opportunities for improvement. It's like you hold up that mirror. But your biggest strength in this relationship, and also what your partner will really appreciate you for, is that you really think things through. You take the time to reflect. You make time for reflection. You actually consider both sides, and you're willing to take a hard look at yourself. Take that hard look in the mirror. And okay, sorry, I don't know why, but the camera just stopped recording. But what we were talking about is like, you're willing to take that hard look in the mirror at yourself, and do that self-reflection, and kind of be accountable for what you are bringing into the relationship, what you're bringing in to any kind of interaction you have in the soulmate connection. And you're the type of person that will consider your partner in every decision that you make. So you'll consider their feelings, you'll consider their preferences, and that's what your soulmate really appreciates about you. This is kind of giving me the energy of someone who isn't looking to point the finger every time a problem arises, but you're willing to self-reflect and to self-improve if that's what's needed for this connection to flourish. It's like you don't shy away from the hard work, which in turn I think helps this connection to grow. I'm even hearing that for some of you, before you came into this connection, the mirroring effect was already taking place. So it's like the improvements that you were making and the lessons that you were learning along your journey, it's almost like that was all actually felt by your soulmate. And in this strange kind of like symbiotic way, it's like you're helping, like you were helping your soulmate to grow and to improve through the work that you were doing on yourself. So very interesting energy there. Again, a little bit of twin flame energy, I'm not gonna lie. So your personal journey is actually having kind of this mirrored effect on your soulmate connection. Even if you haven't met this person yet, or even if the two of you are kind of like in a period of separation or stagnation in this connection, your growth is really reflected in their journey as well. So even your personal growth is reflected in their journey, which is beautiful. Let's look at what this person, your soulmate, what they are bringing to this connection. I'm also like, the moon that's being reflected in this mirror too, I feel like is really cool because we have this moon energy here. So your soulmate's strength in this connection is time, actually. So let's look at that. Give you a little close-up of that card. Your soulmate is someone who might have, they might have quality time as one of their main love languages. So if you're kind of familiar with the love language, like little quiz that you can take, this might be somebody who really values spending quality time with those who they love and they care about. This is someone who they will dedicate the time and the energy and the focus to this connection. And that's something you really appreciate about them. They are a person who will prioritize this soulmate connection above other commitments in their life because they understand that time is our most precious asset and they don't want to waste a second with you. So with this energy and the dynamic of the connection that I'm picking up on so far, I feel like this is someone who will definitely, this is interesting the way this is coming through. I kind of feel like this is someone who, your guides or their guides, somebody's highlighting the fact that this person isn't going to get it right all the time, which is true of everyone. So like, it's like their guides are saying they won't get it right all the time, or they're not going to be perfect all the time. And none of us will, like none of us are going to get everything perfect all the time or always make the right or perfect decision because we are human. But this is someone who's willing to stick it out for the long haul, someone who's committed. And I'm kind of sensing this unwavering commitment here. Like I feel this person's motto would be something like, we've got the rest of our lives to figure this out, or like we've got all the time in the world to figure this out. So like anytime a problem arises, they're really good at not giving up. They're really good at putting in the time and like making sure that you're aware of their level of commitment. Yeah, they're willing to like put in the time to solve problems. And it's not only that, it's like they love spending time with you. I feel like this person never makes you feel like you're a burden or like they would rather be somewhere else. They're very good at making space and time for you and making you know and feel that you are the top priority in their life. I think both of you, kind of get this feeling that time stops when the two of you are together. that's just sort of the vibe here. Like your connection kind of exists outside of time and space, if that makes any sense. It's like, it's like you both feel like you could spend unlimited time in each other's company. What you love about this person is that they seem to kind of make time stop. They almost make the outside world fade away. I feel like we were already talking about that a little bit. So there's this sense that like the world fades away when you're with this person. And in that way, I feel like they have this calming effect on you. Like they kind of help to quiet your mind or just to center you in the present moment. So we're going to use these little tarot cards to take a look at your weaknesses and challenges in this connection for both you and your soulmate. So where are the areas where like you might stumble? What are the challenges that you're going to face in this soulmate connection? And we're going to look at your challenges first. So where's number one going to be challenged in the soulmate connection? Okay, so we had the Knight of Cups come out in reverse. Okay. Yeah, I feel like you might be the kind of person who finds it difficult to show affection when you're upset or when you're in your feelings. I do think that by nature, you might see more of the like intricacies of this connection or of life in general than your soulmate, with this mirror energy being your strength. And because of that, there might be things going on in the relationship or in your life together that you're kind of able to feel more intensely. So sometimes your emotions might get the better of you. I do feel like this is truly because you see and you sense so much, but you might have the tendency in this connection to not be quite as tender or as expressive when something is bothering you, especially if it's weighing on you on an emotional level. With this Knight of Cups here, this is a very emotional energy. So the Knight of Cups can kind of also indicate an overactive imagination when it shows up in the reverse like this. Yeah, for some of you, this could mean that one of your challenges is kind of allowing doubt to creep in, or this is something that you find as challenging to kind of stop doing. Maybe doubting the connection, letting your fears kind of creep into the connection, maybe imagining the worst case scenario. This could be challenging for you. I feel like that kind of energy could even manifest as jealousy or worrying that your partner isn't being completely honest with you. So that is something to keep in mind. Emotional balance is key with the Knight of Cups in reverse, and that is just something to keep in mind. So let's take a look at your soulmate's weaknesses or challenges in this connection. And we have the Ace of Swords in reverse. So interesting. Both of your cards came out in the reverse. I feel like this is, again, kind of a mirrored energy here. It's almost the same type of energy, to be honest with you. There are similarities here. So this is like where the two of you feel challenged. I do sense a bit of a similarity here. This person, I feel like whereas your weakness or your challenge in this connection might be more on an emotional level and kind of this withholding when it comes to your emotions, your soulmate's challenges fall under more of the communication or the expression aspect of the connection. So they might have the tendency to like kind of shut down and to communicate less during challenging times, or when they feel that something is bothering them, when something is weighing on them. They might be someone who, when they're working through something internally, they kind of go quiet, or they go altogether silent. If this is a connection where you're already aware of this person, like you already know this person, this soulmate has already come into your life, you may have had like a period of no contact or limited communication with this person already. And if that's the case, then you'll kind of know exactly what I mean, because you would have noticed when they're going through something, they might tend to kind of withdraw. You might not hear from them. They might not be as expressive as they typically would be. So this is something that they are challenged with. I think that for the most part, this is someone who likes to have things kind of figured out. And have kind of a clear idea in their head before they communicate about it. But this tendency could at times leave you wanting more information from them or wanting more clarity from them. And like you kind of thinking, okay, this is a little bit confusing. What's going on here? I can see that here. Yeah, so their biggest weakness is that they sometimes just shut down and they don't communicate very well. Maybe even... I could even get silent treatment vibes from this. So this could be somebody that if they're very upset, they will just go completely silent. Especially if they're overwhelmed too, I'm hearing. Yeah. So now I would like to look at your kind of day-to-day life with this person. So I'm calling this home life, but this is really going to encompass a lot of areas of this connection. So day-to-day life, everyday life, and also your romantic connection with this person. And we're going to pull an oracle card for you and then clarify. Whoa. There's your card. And then clarify with a tarot card. So, oh wow. Okay, you actually had the happiness card. So home life, looking pretty good. Let's clarify that energy with a tarot card. I feel like you guys are very, very happy together in everyday life. And probably just move through like the mundane parts of everyday life really easily. It feels like it flows. I'm noticing the dolphins in this happiness card, which I think is interesting because dolphins represent communication. And we were just talking about like communication being a weakness for your soulmate when they are bothered or when something is weighing heavily on them. So this is showing me that communication looks good between the two of you in everyday life. Oh, did you really get the Two of Cups? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you did. You did. So you have this two here. We have the themes of balance, and you just got the Two of Emotions. So that's the Two of Cups. And a lot of like aquatic imagery here. So again, this is about deep emotional connection. I'm just seeing like all this watery imagery, all this kind of ocean imagery. There might be some sort of significance there within this connection. But yeah, I feel like in terms of everyday life, the two of you are communicating very well. The two of you are very happy together in your everyday life. And it's like, I feel like with the Two of Cups, there's this energy of really seeing eye to eye about things. So things generally running smoothly. I'm even getting for some of you that you might be in business with this person at one point in time or another. This might be kind of a goal for you and your soulmate to like open a business together, to work very closely together. This could be also the energy of two people working at home together. Even if you're working on separate tasks, it might be that both of you work at home. Because with the Two of Cups, I do get that energy. The Two of Cups is really a lot about partnership, and this can extend to business partnership. But this is just showing me that the two of you are great partners, that you kind of take a unified stance when it comes to just life. You know, we all have stuff come up. There are things we have to deal with. There are decisions we have to make, families we have to raise, which, by the way, this is great energy for thinking about starting a family. So if that is something that you are interested in with your soulmate, there's definite great energy here for welcoming in some children, for kind of expanding upon this connection that the two of you have together. There is, again, too, mutual attraction here. So looking at your more romantic life, we were already picking up on that, but this is definite confirmation and reiteration of a really strong romantic connection between the two of you that is very emotional in nature. So there's a mutual attraction here. There is kind of a mutual I want to say like mutual pursuit. Like it doesn't feel like this connection is very one-sided, like with one person doing the majority of the pursuing, or even the flirting or things like that. It's like both of you are very drawn in and connected and pulled toward this person, and it feels very equal. It feels very balanced, which has been a theme throughout this entire reading. I feel like the main feeling I get from like your everyday life with this person is that the two of you are unified. The two of you see eye to eye. It's like you're in it together. So whatever kind of challenges come up, whatever you're dealing with, whatever you're facing, it doesn't have to be anything that's heavy. It's just decisions that have to be made. People that we have to deal with, whatever. It's like the two of you, you're always taking a unified stance about it. I think you communicate about things before making decisions or before presenting your decision to anyone outside of the connection. It's like the two of you want to be on the same page before you discuss your choices with anyone else. Yeah, this is really interesting because I forgot that this card was making me think of the Lovers and the Two of Cups, and we actually had that card come out. We actually had the Two of Cups come out. So that's very interesting, but this was making me again think about choice. Like choices, that like this is something that is by choice. The two of you choose to spend each day together because you feel happy in this connection. So it doesn't feel like a chore. It doesn't feel hard. It feels like an obvious decision for you to make, but it's definitely a choice that the two of you are making every single day, which is kind of beautiful energy here. So yeah, I want to pull an oracle card from a different deck, and we're going to look at how the two of you relate to one another, and also look at your communication, which in this case, I feel like we've already touched upon that in two different scenarios. So we will see what other messages we get in terms of communication in this connection for number one. So how are you relating to your soulmate? And how are you communicating it? I'm dropping your card. Okay, so we have the Composure card coming out. Very calming energy, like that. I'm going to clarify again. Another tarot card. Just clarifying this energy of composure. Why is this Composure card here? What else can you tell us about composure in relation to how number one is relating to their soulmate, communication? Okay, we had the World Cosmos, which is the World card. Okay. I feel like it's interesting because we did get so many messages about communication already, but I'm actually seeing another layer here. This is actually showing me like how the two of you kind of deal with your challenges. So I think in everyday life, your communication is really great. I think that you understand each other because you tend to see eye to eye. But I'm seeing that like, if, for instance, something came up where the two of you didn't see eye to eye, or where there's a lot of things to consider, or maybe there's a lot of frustration, just in the air. It doesn't even have to be frustration at each other, but it could just be that it's a very frustrating situation, or it's a very difficult situation. I feel like both of you have the wherewithal to kind of take the time to gather your thoughts before you communicate about a topic that might be kind of like inflammatory in some way. I feel like there's really the shared goal of understanding each other's point of view, and of like remaining calm, hearing each other out and understanding where each of you are coming from, or how each of you can get your needs met in whatever the scenario is. There is really just like this calm kind of zen and centered energy, and I feel like it's like both of you really want to come to any kind of discussion or any kind of interaction with each other in a very calm and composed state. You want to come there as your best self. And I love that this is showing up because it's showing it again on both sides. It's showing that this is reciprocated. So both of you are taking the time to think things through, taking the time to consider both sides and wanting to hear what the other has to say. I get the energy from this that it's kind of like, I feel like you two don't take each other for granted, which is a beautiful thing. I feel like there's respect here, like mutual respect for each other's needs and opinions, and kind of like an acceptance of the whole person, if that makes sense. And this is reciprocated energy. So it's like you accept your soulmate for everything that they are, the good, the not so good. I won't say bad, but it's like the good and the not so good, the positive and easy traits that they have to get, you know, like ways that are easy for you to get along with this person and ways that are a little bit more challenging. But it's like this is happening on both ends. You're both accepting each other for the whole and complete person that you are. And that comes with a lot of things. There's a lot of intricacies. There's a lot of little details. There's a lot of little personality quirks. And it's like the two of you really see each other for what you are and appreciate each other for the total package. You kind of love everything about each other, even the things that you do find more challenging, which is beautiful. It's very mature energy here. And I think that is a very mature energy. It's a mature thing to do, to like to gather yourself, to gather your thoughts, to show up to an interaction as a composed person who's willing to hear the other person out, who's willing to keep an open mind. I feel like that's kind of the energy here. Oh, wow. Okay, your card shot out and we haven't even discussed what the next portion of the reading is. So what we're going to look at last is, how would your soulmate describe this connection? And you have the commitment card come out. Pretty much says it all. Let's clarify it as if it needs any clarification. This really could mean that this is a soulmate that you are married to. So if this might be someone that you are interested in committing to on that level, that might not be in your plans to be married, but this does indicate a high level of commitment, a real devotion. Really interesting because this is how your soulmate would describe your connection. And we were also talking about with the time card that your soulmate is like very dedicated, very committed, and gosh, your cards are coming out so fast, faster than I can talk. Very dedicated and committed to this connection, to the point that this person might literally say or be of the belief that like, we have all the time in the world to figure this out. Like, I'm not going anywhere. We've got decades to figure this out, to work through this, or to make this decision or whatever. That's pretty much the stance that they take. So yeah, the commitment card come out. They're very committed. It's like almost like they're very aware, like this is it, like this is the one. So they don't have, I'm not getting a feeling like they're looking for anything or missing anything from this connection. It's like it's a done deal as far as they're concerned. You had the Nine of Inspiration show up in reverse to clarify this card. So this is Nine of Wands energy, and I feel like because the Nine of Wands in the reverse position can sometimes indicate, I'll show you the card in the upright. It can sometimes indicate that feeling of like not being able to go on or giving up right before we meet our goal. So this kind of tells me that for your soulmate, from their point of view, they may have been experiencing hardships in their life or a lot of disappointment in their life leading up to meeting you, to the point that they feel like, oh, I was just about to give up and then I met the one. Like right when I was going to give up, right when I would have just openly declared that I don't believe in love anymore, that's when I met the one. So for some of you, that is the case. And that's why this Nine of Inspiration is showing up in the reverse position for your soulmate. I think for the majority of you, the reason that this Nine of Wands or Nine of Inspiration is in reverse is because this is kind of a message that this is someone who will never give up. So they would describe this connection as something that they want to hold on to for a lifetime, something that they are not going to give up on. They have this desire to really work together, and that's where that committed energy is coming from. They have this desire to work on this relationship with you, to work through the challenges. And that's what commitment looks like to them. It doesn't look to them like everything has to be perfect all the time, like everything's going to be sunshine and rainbows, but just that knowing that they are going to fall back on this great love that they feel for you, and that they're committed to this for the long haul. So whatever arises, it's like, we've got all the time in the world to figure this out. We will figure this out. Yeah, so I think this person is very realistic and very mature, and I'm getting kind of that energy for both of you. Again, that balanced energy. I feel like the reason the two of you are great together is because you're both bringing a certain maturity to this. So I do feel this mature energy coming from your soulmate. They know that commitment doesn't mean perfection. It means sticking with it, sticking it out even when times get tough. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave your reading there. Number one, thank you so much for hanging out with me and letting me read your cards. If you did enjoy this reading, if any of these messages resonated with you, don't forget to like the video, leave me a comment down below, and hit that subscribe button if you feel like it. And hopefully I will see you in another reading really soon. Bye. Hi, number two, if you were drawn to the pyrite and blue lace agate, this is going to be your reading. We're going to find out all about life with your soulmate. So before we jump into your first oracle card, let's talk a little bit about the stones that were selected for you. These stones were randomly selected for each pile. So I want to take a look at some of the properties and kind of figure out how they might tie into your reading. So the first stone we're going to look at is the pyrite. Pyrite is a grounding stone. It is a very protective stone. A lot of protective stones showed up in these readings, like to be corresponded with these piles. So it's very interesting. So a very nice protective energy here. This could be about this soulmate connection being divinely guided and protected. When we look at the blue lace agate, this is actually a stone that represents, let me get the camera to focus. This is a stone that represents unity and harmony and hope, and it also has a protective element to it. So very interesting. I feel like especially with that blue lace agate, there's kind of like a very soulmate-ish vibe that's coming through with that, with the ideas of hope and unity and two people kind of living in harmony together. So that is a great sign that life with your soulmate is going to be a harmonious life, and that your connection is divinely protected because you had two protective stones come out for you. So very interesting, and we will see how that ties into the rest of your reading. Let's take a look at your first oracle card. This card is going to represent the energy that is kind of bonding or holding the two of you together. Just that energy that exists in that space between the two of you, you and your soulmate. So let's see what we have. We have Pluto, transformation, and you guys got card 11, which is really a number that symbolizes awakening and spirituality and our higher calling. That's interesting that that came out for you. I love the duality that kind of comes along with the number 11. It brings this sense of balance, and this kind of sense of equilibrium and stability to the soulmate connection. It's kind of funny here. I just keep thinking back to reading 1 at this point because there's a bit of similar energy coming through already. There was really an emphasis on the number 2 in the last reading and kind of this balancing energy. I'm getting the same vibes from this number 11, and of course 1 and 1 add up to 2. So absolutely getting a sense of balance and equality in this connection. I'm seeing what's interesting about this, and I know that the number 11 like is very significant to a lot of people. A lot of people have experienced signs and synchronicities related to the number 11. So if you have experienced this in connection with some sort of awakening or in connection with a soulmate connection that you have already been exploring, this might be confirmation for you. So I just want to put that out there. This card came out for a reason, and this is a very significant and powerful master number here that's showing up. So what's interesting is with this number 11, I'm actually seeing two pillars. I'm kind of seeing both of the ones as two separate pillars. Yeah. let me feel this out. So I'm seeing them as two separate pillars when I tap into the energy of the connection that you have with your soulmate. And this is kind of telling me that you both are very strong on your own. Individually, you possess a lot of strength and a lot of power. It could even be that you've built a really strong foundation for yourself before you've met this person, or vice versa. I feel like this is coming from both sides. Like this foundation might have been built and well established. So there's kind of this feeling that this feeling of you being established in some way as individuals before you come together. And I don't want this to sound like you have to have everything figured out before you can welcome in your soulmate or anything like that, because it's not at all the energy. You don't have to be a perfect person before this connection comes to fruition. It's more that both of you have gained a really solid sense of who you are. And I feel like a certain stability in that, like a certain knowing in that. So this to me feels like both of you are people who are very comfortable with the person that you are, with what you have to offer. Now, this could be that there are actual physical and tangible things that you've established in your life before this connection comes in place. It could be that you've built your own business, or that you're well established in your career. Maybe you own a home or something like that before you meet this person. But it really, to me, is having more of a sense of like, you've developed yourself as a person to a point that you can feel proud of. You have maybe even gone through some sort of spiritual growth, potentially an awakening with this number 11. You've already gone through these periods of growth, and you've already started to develop yourself as a person and kind of tap into your life's purpose and get this greater sense of who you are and what you're here to experience. So yeah, there's this feeling of strong foundations on both sides of this connection, which is really beautiful. Yeah, I'm getting this feelings like it's almost like, it's almost this feeling of when people say like, this is your other half, or like, this person completes you, like two halves making a whole. But it's really not that. It's more like, because it's not that each of you wasn't whole before this connection takes place. It's more like, this is like two wholes making a, I don't know a word for this, like a super whole, a super total, kind of creating this real sense of oneness. I almost want to say I'm getting like power couple vibes from this group already. It's like the two of you come together in this sort of explosive way. Like something about this is very powerful. And it's like what you're able to create together is greater than the sum of the two parts, if that makes any sense. I'm already kind of getting this feeling of children and starting a family from this group. So very interesting energy that's coming through. If that's something that you're interested in, if you have hopes of creating a family in this soulmate connection, that would be confirmation for you. But I am having this feeling of like, just kind of picking up on what the two of you are able to create together, and creating little humans is kind of like an ultimate form of creation. So that could be a reason that is kind of coming to the forefront in your reading. There's definitely energy there for a family. I feel like you and your soulmate have the power to really kind of affect each other on a much deeper level than you may have experienced in other connections. Pluto kind of brings with it this energy of change and of transformation. And I feel like that's a major theme for this soulmate connection. The change that happens in each of you as a result of this connection it's like it's massive. There's almost kind of this feeling of it being irreversible change. Like once this person comes into your life, things will never be the same. And this is a change that definitely feels like it's for the better. It's kind of interesting we had that message about children coming through earlier, because with this, I'm kind of feeling like for some of you, this connection may change your life in terms of making you a parent, and this could be happening early on in your connection with this person. I say that because we're at the very beginning of the reading, and I'm kind of getting like some messages about how your connection comes together. So for some of you, you may make like a change to your life or your lifestyle or your life, almost like your future or the trajectory of your life might change kind of early on in this connection, because you may end up having a child with this person early on, or you might consider starting a family with this person a lot earlier than you would have expected. So that is one way that this is coming through, that this is kind of like irreversible change. It's like this, like your life has been blessed, like your life has been added to from this addition or whatever kind of change this connection creates, which can be a number of things. But for some of you, that really is children. Okay, I'm getting a message for some of you that might already be parents. I'm kind of hearing that if you or your soulmate already has a child, this is another way that your life is being transformed, either by you kind of becoming a parent. I'm hearing instant parent. So you might kind of be blessed with a child when you connect with this person. But also if you have children in your life, it's like this person steps into a very parental role very early on and takes on this, like the challenge of it, and really kind of steps up to the plate right away. It's like a perfect fit here. So for those of you that this resonates, that's a message that's coming through for you, that this is a blessing and it's a change. It's like things will never be the same. So maybe like your family structure was one way for a number of years, and this is something that is going to change. It's going to add, this person's going to add a lot of value to your life. So yeah, that's just for some of you. Take that message if it resonates. Yeah, I can say for sure already that meeting this person changes your life. This is definitely happening on both sides of this connection. It actually, I feel like this change is building upon some vision that you've had for your life. So this could be that this is a wanted change. The ways that your life is affected and the ways that you're transformed by this connection could be changes that you have wished for and hoped for a while before you've met this person. So it's like adding to the vision that you already had for yourself. Very interesting. Okay, so we're done looking at the way that the two of you are kind of connected or bonded. And we'll probably return to that energy as we start to unfold a little bit more of this connection. But what I want to look at now is both of your strengths and your weaknesses when it comes to this connection. So we're going to start with you. We are going to look at what your strengths are in this connection. What are you bringing to the table in the soulmate connection? I'm kind of looking at this in terms of like contribution. What is your biggest contribution? What are you excelling at when it comes to this connection? Okay, I almost struck the entire deck shuffling those cards. So we have the moon coming out for you. I'll give you a close-up of that. Okay, so your greatest strength is the moon. I feel like what you excel at in this connection and what your soulmate appreciates most about you is really that you're willing to, like, I want to say face your fears. You're kind of willing to face the uncomfortable parts of life in general or this relationship, when things get a little bit tough, it's like you're willing to face that head on. This moon energy is the energy of someone who's always asking questions, always digging deeper, someone who's not afraid of the shadow aspects of their own personality and their own experiences and how those experiences have grown them and shaped them. Which in terms of, I feel like this makes your partner, your soulmate, I feel like this causes them to kind of explore some of these darker or more hidden aspects of themselves as well. So you might kind of trigger them to do more shadow work, more digging, and this can be very therapeutic. This can be very healing. So another part of this energy is you kind of like, I'm picking up on this uncanny ability for you to know when something is bothering your soulmate or when they're kind of feeling emotional about something. I feel like sometimes you pick up on an emotional issue they might be experiencing before they even do. So I'm kind of seeing you like being that person that's asking like, okay, what's bothering you? And your soulmate's like, nothing's bothering me. I don't know what you mean, but you can just kind of sense it. So it's like you really help them to open up and to even figure out and sort through some of the deeper emotions that they're experiencing. Even if it's just that they're just like, they're kind of in a funky mood, it's like you're able to pick up on it and you bring them back to this place of equilibrium. We're talking about like the balancing each other out, kind of like you bring them back to this place of balance. So interesting that this theme is being repeated through both of the readings that I've done so far. But I love that this idea of balancing each other out is, I think, something that a lot of people are searching for. So I'm glad that this is showing up for you. I feel like with this moon energy, you see things very, very clearly. The moon can talk about illusions or confusion. But it's like your soulmate really appreciates that you're able to kind of sort through all of the noise, all of the confusion, and bring clarity to the situation. Even sometimes helping them to recognize and to process their own emotions. And they just kind of love how sensitive you are to their energy because it makes them feel seen and it makes them feel cared for. So let's see where your soulmate is excelling in this relationship, what they're bringing to the table, what their strengths are. Well, okay. We have Moth for your soulmate. Okay. This is really interesting because I'm getting this like nighttime theme here with the moon and the moth. So there's some connection there. It could be that the two of you feel your connection more intensely at night, or you connect over some kind of like nightlife or night scene, like an activity that generally happens in the evening or something like that. Could be kind of like a bonding moment for you or something like that. Something that's jumping out to me is that with this idea of transformation being at the center of your reading here, being that energy that connects the two of you, I almost feel like when the two of you come together, it's like you see the light, or you're awakened in some way to like a new reality, a new version of yourself, on both ends, like those two strong pillars we were talking about. So a new version of each of these strong pillars, new possibilities. There's kind of a feeling of like coming out of the darkness into the light. So I'm looking at this moth almost like the butterfly of the night. And butterflies are really symbolic of change and transformation, which is a repeated reference to that energy between the two of you. So there's something transformative about this person, your soulmate. It's like in this connection, you find a lot of appreciation for the way your soulmate keeps things fresh. They kind of keep new energy flowing into the connection. They mix things up. I feel like this is someone who might plan date nights. That might be where that nighttime energy is. It's like they plan date nights, or they plan little surprises for you. They keep things growing. You know, they don't let things just like sit and get stale. They kind of keep things changing. I feel like what you appreciate most about this person is like, you're not going to get bored with them. No, you're not going to get bored with this person. They definitely are going to keep you on your toes. I think that they trigger a lot of change and growth within you. Yeah. I think, I'm trying to pick up on what this energy is. I think it's that you really love that this relationship that you have with this soulmate, you kind of feel like this is someone you can grow with. You feel like this is someone who you can change and evolve with, rather than somebody that you're going to like outgrow in just a matter of time before you outgrow them. I feel like some of you might resonate with that. Like, you may have been in connections before where you're like, okay, like this isn't going anywhere. We're not really on the same page. And like, I feel like I'm trying to evolve. I'm trying to progress. And it's like, you're trying to stay exactly the same. I feel like if you resonate with that energy, this is definitely somebody that you can see growing with. You can see going through life's changes and challenges together, and being able to be side by side with that. So yeah, that's something you really are showing appreciation for when it comes to this soulmate connection. So now I want to look at your challenges, each of your challenges and your weaknesses in this relationship. So we've seen what you're both doing well, what you're doing great at, and how you are going to benefit the connection. Your card literally just shot out of my hand. So now I want to look at your weaknesses or your areas of opportunity for improvement. So you actually have the Fool card coming out here. That's interesting. With this Fool energy, I almost wonder if there might be something, something that you're a bit hesitant about if this is showing up in your challenge. So sometimes it's like you might be hesitant when it comes to the amount of change that this connection kind of like inspires it within you, or the amount of change that it just produces all around you. There might be a little bit of hesitation there. I do get more of this transformative energy, or like a faster moving energy from your soulmate. So it could be that they kind of push you a little bit. They push your boundaries, and you might be challenged with that. You might kind of find yourself maybe wanting to resist that change at times. If this connection is like moving too fast for you, moving faster than you expected, you might find that there's resistance. For some of you, I'm hearing that this connection might present the opportunity for you to like take some sort of leap of faith. Okay. So this could be kind of a reference of relocation surrounding this connection. So there might be a need for one or both of you to relocate. Is kind of how that's coming through. And this could be something that you may be a little bit nervous about or a little bit hesitant about. Yeah, I feel like for some of you that is the case. And in general, I'm feeling like this Fool showing up is kind of like, it's kind of an indication that you may sometimes struggle to keep the faith. I think that when things are not clear to you, it can be difficult for you to like see the path forward and to take that leap without looking down to see if there's anything to catch you. You might kind of need to be more tapped into your inner sense of faith in this connection. This connection might kind of require that of you, ask that of you. This connection may teach you to strengthen your ability to walk by faith rather than sight. I feel like that's what we get when we are dealing with the Fool energy. You see, the Fool doesn't know where he's going. The Fool isn't even concerned with what is next. And there might be kind of an element of you wanting to know how this is going to play out, you wanting the answers. And it could be that you're in the dark a lot of the time, which this is interesting energy, because the moon energy kind of gives me that feeling of someone who is maybe in the dark, or things are being revealed to you. So this could be kind of about your need for answers, or your need for more clarity, kind of showing the opposing side to that. Is that sometimes when you don't have the answers, or you don't have that clarity, it's like really hard for you to just trust that things will work out. I do think that it is, especially if you're someone who likes to have a solid plan in place, maybe even likes to have a routine in place, this partner might challenge you a little bit. Like I said, they keep you on your toes. they definitely do. They keep the energy very fresh, really new and exciting. So they might kind of challenge you in that way. For some of you, this Fool could actually be talking about your need to keep things fresh and interesting. So for some of you, this is working the opposite way, and this could be that you have been a very free-spirited person up until meeting this soulmate, and you might have been someone who didn't imagine yourself in a partnership or something like that. And this is really, to me, about like, it might be challenging for you to kind of settle that energy down. The Fool is ready to pick up and go at any time, very adventurous. So if you have this adventurous spirit about you, it could be that it's challenging for you to kind of like settle, for you to, it's not that it's hard for you to consider your partner, because I'm not getting that vibe, but it's just like, you know, when you're in a committed partnership, you do have to make allowances for someone else's preferences, someone else's desires, maybe someone else's schedule before you can make a lot of decisions. So this could be about taming the fool inside of you, taming that adventurous spirit a little bit so that you can be in this partnership. So take that as it resonates, because I did actually get 2 different messages. So this is either talking about you being very adventurous, or this is your partner being very adventurous. One thing that's coming through that's very odd, because I've already done this portion of the reading, but now this moth is like screaming at me. So I have to kind of backtrack a little bit and talk about your person's strengths again. I think another thing that is showing up here is your soulmate is really good at showing you how attracted they are to you. It's like they excel at making you feel desired. And it can be just from a look. Like just a look that they give you. They have this way of communicating to you that you are very special to them, that you are very desired. So I'm kind of almost getting that like an image of a moth to a flame. That's how this person feels about you, and they don't leave you questioning, they don't leave you wondering. They're very good at communicating that. I'm not getting a very clear message on exactly how they communicate it, because I saw a look. So it might be that this is nonverbal communication, or it could be that they have various ways of communicating that to you, but I feel like they can even communicate it through a look. And I also kind of feel like, this person is very romantic, just from the energy that I'm picking up on so far. Romantic gestures might be a strength for this person. So now let's kind of look a little bit into weaknesses or challenges for this person, for your soulmate. Where are they challenged in this soulmate connection? Okay, so we have the 5 of Cups. I feel like for some of you, your soulmate is possibly challenged by their past. This is interesting because we were kind of talking about the moon energy and kind of tying to your ability to tap into your soulmate's deeper feelings or their more emotional feelings. And this could be something that kind of challenges them, like to access those emotional topics or to relive moments of heartbreak or disappointment that they've experienced might be something that they find rather challenging. So yeah, I think opening up about emotional topics or being extremely emotionally vulnerable is difficult for this person. They could even sometimes fall into more of a pessimistic frame of mind and kind of pull away kind of want to keep to themselves. The Five of Cups is a very lonely energy to me. I don't know if people generally read this card as lonely, but to me this person looks very much alone. And I get that kind of vibe from the Five of Pentacles as well. But it's like, I feel like sometimes when this person's going through something, they think they have to take it on all on their own. They think they have to be sad and lonely and depressed, and that maybe they don't want to talk about what's going on inside of them. Yeah, it's like they want, sometimes I feel like this person might want to hide their emotions. And they struggle with that. It's like you're always looking for ways to draw that emotion out of them, to help them to grow and to heal from it. And it's a bit of a struggle for them. It kind of seems like the two of you are really great for each other in terms of pushing each other's boundaries and kind of expanding the limits of the comfort, like the comfort zones that each of you have laid out for yourself. I think you really push each other. That's why this transformation energy is right in the center of your reading, because you're both helping each other grow and kind of like transform into the people that you were meant to be. But it's through pushing these boundaries. It's through pushing these limits. So I do feel for a lot of you, your soulmate kind of pushes you, they might push a lot of change and exciting things on you. Like, it's all good, but it could feel like a lot if you are a little hesitant to things changing really quickly. And on the other end of things, it's like you will pull the emotion out of this person, and it can make them feel uncomfortable. It's like they have gotten in the habit of processing their emotions in solitude, and they have to kind of learn how to process emotions with a partner. So it is challenging to them. It's not impossible, it's just challenging. Yeah, this is why you create such powerful transformation in each other's lives. That is clear. So we are going to look at some oracle cards now. And I want to look at specifically your home life, I'm kind of calling it. This is your home life, your day-to-day life with this person, and also any kind of romance that wants to show up, anything about your romantic life, just kind of that day-to-day. So for number 2, what is home life? What is day-to-day life with their soulmate like? There's your card. We have, of course we do. We have growth. Growth, transformation. Interesting. This card says I want to expand my consciousness and my awareness, and I think that's what this connection does for both of you. It's a very expansive energy that I'm getting from this, and there is a lot of transformation. I am going to clarify your oracle card with a tarot card, and we'll see what else we can pull out of that. But I think that, like, I think this theme of transformation and growth is very apparent. Why? Okay, I think that's your card, because the one card just kind of settled out of the deck. We have the Hanged Muse, which would be the Hanged Man, in reverse. Yeah. Things are always changing with the two of you. It's like all that comes to mind is like things are always changing. Things are always evolving. Things are always growing. So your day-to-day life with this person is not, it's not boring. It's not mundane at all. Even the most mundane moments aren't really that mundane, because it's like there's always this injection of new energy here. There's constant progress being made. So I feel like the two of you really help each other to tackle like tasks, chores, but beyond that also your bigger dreams, your wants, and your desires. There's like a lot of energy of growing into the people that you each wanted to be, and it's like you really help and support each other in doing this. You achieve a lot together it's like the vibe of this. There's not really this feeling of stagnancy with the Hanged Muse in reverse. This is kind of the feeling of moving forward, potentially after a period of some sort of contemplation. And in this case, that period could have been before this connection was made. There could have been a time of stagnancy, a time of feeling like you're kind of waiting around, like you're looking for the answers, or you're looking to find a new perspective on something. And it's like this relationship in a way gives you that new perspective, and it helps to just get things moving, which is so interesting. I feel like looking at your romantic life, your romantic life looks really good. And it's not just because of these cards here. Like I was saying here, this message that your soulmate is kind of a romantic, and that they keep you on your toes and they keep things fresh. I feel like that definitely extends to your romantic life, into your sex life. It's like they really keep things interesting. They always surprise you. They always have a trick up their sleeve, and they're always surprising you. And what I love about this energy of transformation and evolution is that I feel like in this partnership, as things change, as you two grow, as you get older, as you develop new preferences, it's like you're able to adapt to each other, because there is this energy of change and of evolution that's so present. It's so infused into this connection that it's like, yeah, I feel like the romance is good because it is a romantic connection that grows with you over time. It changes, and it's not like the same recipe that maybe worked like very early on into the connection might not work years in. But this is someone who can recognize those subtle changes. They can recognize the need for change, and I feel like the two of you really grow and evolve together very, very nicely. I feel like no 2 days are the same in your everyday life with this person. This could also indicate a lot of travel. We were kind of talking about that with the Fool card in terms of relocation, but this could also be that there's a lot of change and transformation in your surroundings. So maybe the two of you live in various places throughout your relationship. Yeah, that feeling of no 2 days being the same is kind of where this is coming from. It's like you might experience several different, almost like several different lifetimes, or several different like almost identities, because it's like you might live in one place and kind of adopt certain habits or have certain surroundings, and then you move somewhere else and you have a whole different like set of surroundings to explore and to experience together. So yeah, even if this isn't about a lot of travel or a lot of moving, I'm hearing military for some of you. So your soulmate might be in the military. You might be in the military. You could even meet because of enlisting, or because of being stationed in the same place, or something like that. But I kind of lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, you guys. There are so many messages coming through. But anyway, the general idea here is there's constant progress. You don't feel like your life with this person is stagnant or boring in any way. There's a lot, and you guys are achieving a lot together. You're kind of opening each other's eyes to a lot of new ideas. So things are staying very interesting throughout this connection. Not boring at all. We don't do boring here in group 2. So now we are going to pull a different oracle card, and we're going to look at how the two of you relate to each other. And this can talk about communication as well. So we are looking at your communication, how the two of you communicate. Sorry, I'm dropping cards. Let's see. How are the two of you relating to each other, and how's your communication in this soulmate connection? Okay, we had trust the universe. Let me give you a close-up. We had trust the universe come out. We're going to clarify that with a tarot card. Let's see. Why is trust the universe here, Spirit? Wow, okay. We have the Queen of Voices. This is the Queen of Swords, by the way. I feel like the two of you are very open and direct with each other. In terms of your communication, you are very clear about your needs. Very clear about your direction for this. I feel like in some way this takes the pressure off of things, is how this is coming through. It's like your communication is so clear, you're both so open with each other that there's no pressure that you have to be a mind reader or that your partner has to be a mind reader, because it's just so easy for the two of you to talk to each other. It's so easy for you to communicate. And this is, I don't know if I've said this, well, I think I did. I just think that your communication is so clear. There is no need like to interpret. There's no need to second guess, because I think that the two of you feel comfortable enough with each other to just kind of like say it like it is. And you can really relate to each other. You can really kind of see each other's point of view. So that's another thing that makes it seem like it's easier for you to communicate, because I want to say it's like you're speaking the same language. I don't know if that might have like a deeper meaning to it than I realize as I'm saying that. Maybe the two of you don't speak the same language, or you have a language in common and you speak other languages. So that might be something that is significant about your connection. But it's like the two of you speak the same language in terms of how you want to communicate about your partnership or about things that are going on in your life. You can just really understand each other and understand where you're coming from. With this Trust the Universe card, I'm getting the sense that it's like the two of you are both in this in a way where it's like you're really trusting the process of the way that this connection unfolds. You're trusting the unfolding of this connection. And that, I think, helps. I think that helps you relate to each other, and it helps the communication, because it's like, I feel like this might be a little bit odd, but I feel like the two of you have this sense that you came together for a reason. And so it's like easier for you to navigate everything that goes on in life, whether it's challenging or exciting or fun. It's just easier for you to navigate everything that you approach, because you're like, so in this mode of trusting the process, trusting the universe, because that's kind of how the two of you came together in the first place. It's like, you know that this was for a reason. You know that this is meant to be. Yeah, you both are kind of the belief that you came together for a reason, and that your life experiences are happening for a reason. Makes it a lot easier for you to navigate. That's actually really cool. I feel like maybe this connection has taught both of you a lot in terms of trusting, being more trusting. And we were kind of talking about that with the Fool card. So this could be like a major lesson that you learn from this soulmate connection is like, I just have to trust. Like, I just have to trust my intuition. I just have to trust if I have this little urge to go to this particular place, that's for a reason. And that could be literally because you meet this person in some synchronistic way that really strengthens your belief that things are lining up for you, that things are happening for a reason. So in this final portion of the reading, I want to look at how your soulmate would describe this connection. So this could get interesting. How would your soulmate describe this connection? There goes your card on the floor. That's how they describe it. Okay, so we have card 39, fun, interesting. Okay, I'm going to clarify that as well. Clarify this fun card. I feel like this person loves growing and evolving with you. I feel like they find it fun. They find it interesting. And this is probably because they really are a person who likes, they like to have a lot of new experiences and they like to grow. We have, well, of course, we have Awakening. This is the Judgment card. I feel like this personal evolution, like this, honestly, let me back up. When we were talking about the two pillars, it's like the two of you have really established yourselves as as something, as some kind of creative being, or you've tapped into your spirituality, I think before you even come together. So you both have this kind of drive and desire to develop yourself personally. And I feel like the growth that the two of you can do together is like, it's just right up your alley. I feel like is the best way to say it. Both of you love growing, having new experiences and evolving. So it's like, I feel like this person kind of feels like this connection is part of their life's purpose. It's part of their destiny, part of their path. And it's like, they don't just have a blast in your company. They have so much fun just hanging around with you, but they really find this connection to be very eye-opening, very intriguing. They kind of, you know, they view it as something that's important, and they love learning from you, and they love growing with you. So yeah, very interesting energy. It's like the way that the two of you transform each other, your soulmate finds that to be so fun and so intriguing, and it's like, what adventure can we have next, and what growth can we experience next? And they just love that. So that is really cool. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it there for you, number 2. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and letting me read your cards. If you did enjoy this reading, if you resonated with any of these messages, don't forget to like the video, leave me a comment down below, and hit that subscribe button if you feel like it. And hopefully I will see you again in another reading really soon. Bye. Hi, number 3, if you were drawn to the black tourmaline and the rose quartz, this is going to be your reading. We're going to find out what life is like with your soulmate. So before we jump into your first oracle card, let's take a look at the stones that you were drawn to. These stones were actually randomly selected for each pile. So we will kind of see like if any of their properties tie into the rest of your reading. So when we look at the black tourmaline, this is a stone of really powerful cleansing. This is a stone that's known to kind of like absorb and clear away negative energies. It's grounding and very protective, which seems to be a theme throughout this reading, because a lot of the stones that showed up for the other piles too were grounding and protective stones. So very interesting with that. With rose quartz, we have the stone of love. This is kind of a stone about love and relationships, and this is something that really inspires a lot of compassion. So interesting energies here. I am getting, again, because we have a protective stone, kind of this vibe of divine guidance or divine protection surrounding the soulmate connection. And there's definitely a very pure love here that's existing between you and your soulmate. So we will refer back to that energy if necessary, if it ties into the rest of the reading. So let's look at your first oracle card. This card is going to represent the energy that kind of exists between the two of you. What's bonding you together? What's holding this connection together? What is what's taking place in that space between? So we have card 44, solar eclipse, and this card says revolution. Okay, we're getting off to a strong start with this one, with this double number here, this 44. So there is kind of this mirrored, this is a mirrored number. So I'm finding this very interesting. I think this is a little bit more interesting for me as the reader than it might be for each of you selecting different piles, because what I will tell you is this feeling of mirrored energy or balance and some kind of like stability has been present in all the readings so far. So I'm a little bit like mind blown to see this 44, because I'm getting the same kind of vibes here, mirrored, very balanced, like equals on both sides. So yeah, I'm relating this to the idea of partnership. That's already pulling me back to the rose quartz. That is kind of this feeling of unity and love. So I'm being pulled to that energy there, partnership, balance, equality, things like that. I feel like your guides are really highlighting that balance that you feel in this soulmate connection. The way the two of you provide stability for each other and kind of balance each other out. So you might find with this person that you have similar qualities, you have different qualities, you have qualities that seem to complement each other, or you're strong where they are weak, and vice versa, things like that. Because 4s give me the feeling of of stability. They even talk about like the home life. So interesting. That's going to be a section of this reading, but it's like I'm kind of getting vibes about the home life here and the balance that you find in the home life. It could be something about the roles that you play or something like that. We're going to look deeper into it. But yeah, very, very nice energy on each side of this, balancing each other out. I want to say like bolstering each other up. I'm not even exactly sure what that could mean in this connection. So this could be about like encouragement or like a sense of stability or comfort around each other, because we are talking about that energy of the home. So there could be this feeling of comfort when you are around each other. This idea of the number 4, especially coming out doubled like this, is really making me think of the heart chakra, which is the 4th chakra. So this could kind of be highlighting that heart-centered connection that you feel with your soulmate. And I wouldn't be surprised if for a lot of you 4s are significant to your partnership in some way. You might meet this person in April, or you might celebrate a significant event on the 4th of the month. This might even be a number that the 2 of you end up connecting over in some way. I just heard 4-letter name. So this could be that your soulmate's name is a 4-letter name, or that could be your name or a middle name or something like that. I just heard 4-letter name. So if that rings a bell for some of you, then great. That's some confirmation for you. Interesting that we had this energy of the 4th chakra and rose quartz, which is known to correspond with the 4th chakra. So yeah, these stones are tying into your reading. They're definitely tying into your reading. So let's look at this, this revolution, this idea of revolution that's coming through with this energy that's bonding the 2 of you. Revolution is kind of just like another way to say change. And we dealt with a lot of themes of change and transformation in reading number 2. So there might be similarities between your reading and number 2. If you did feel called to that reading as well, then there could be a message for you in that reading. Now, for some reason, for your soulmate connection, I feel called to talk about what things are like when you first meet this person, or when you first met this person. Your guides are correcting me. Some of you have already met this person. They're like, no, 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 when they met. Yeah. A lot of messages coming through. Hold on, give me a second. I think for a lot of you, this connection will seem like it comes out of nowhere, or like it came out of nowhere if this is something you've already experienced. Revolution is like change, transformation on steroids is how this is coming through. So like a lot of change, maybe something even very fast, something that happens very fast, something that's unexpected. I feel like this connection might shock you. And for some of you, I'm hearing that it might even happen at not only a time that's unexpected, but even as far as an inopportune time. And it kind of changes you from the inside out. So for some of you, this is a connection that comes into your life at a time where you're like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm not even, no. It could be that things in your life are crazy at the time, or oh gosh, is this connected to a move for some of you? I just kind of got this, I just got this message that for some of you, this happens right when you're about to move, or right when this person's about to move. It's like you meet them and then they're going away, or something's ending, something's coming to an end, and there's some either need to separate or a threat of separation as soon as you meet this person. So in that way, it's like it might feel like it's bad timing. It might feel like it's not what you were looking for, not what you were expecting. This could even be you go somewhere and it's like, I went here for this purpose and instead I met my soulmate. And it could just like throw you off. Like, that's not why I came here. I don't have time for this soulmate, that type of energy. But it feels like something that really changes you. Like, it's nothing you can ignore. Let me just put it like that. You can't ignore this because it is this revolutionizing kind of energy that's taking place inside of you, no matter what the timing on this is. It's like, The timing doesn't matter. As inopportune as it might seem to you, as crazy as it might seem to you, as fast as it might seem to you, it doesn't matter. Another thing that you might find with the soulmate connection is that because we're dealing with this solar eclipse energy, the solar eclipse happens when the sun and the moon are in opposition, but they're perfectly aligned. So the moon kind of obscures the sun from our view. You might find that this is someone that you don't see at first, someone that you don't notice at first. It could even be someone that you feel like you kind of missed, almost like you were two ships passing in the night. So this could be someone that you were in close physical proximity with for a while before you met them, or before this connection was revealed to you. But it doesn't have to be that. The solar eclipse energy doesn't have to be that. You could literally be across the world from each other, but with this solar eclipse energy, it's like the two of you are in perfect alignment. You're perfectly attuned to each other, like we were talking about the sun and the moon being in perfect alignment. So yeah, I'm getting kind of excited about this for you guys. It's like you guys are in sync, you're in tune, even if there's a lot of space between you, even if there's like a lot of time since you've seen this person. It's like maybe the events of your life are lining up. It might feel like things are corresponding in your life and in their life, or the two of you are having very similar thoughts. You're in very similar places. You might be in a similar spot in terms of your personal development, your spiritual growth, something like that. Perfect alignment. So it's like you and your soulmate have a lot in common, and I think that you kind of click over your shared interests, over also a mutual attraction. That's again that feeling of being in perfect alignment. There might even be something that the two of you relate on when it comes to like your upbringing or your life experiences, some kind of similarity there, but you're also very different at the same time. It's an interesting dynamic. So I think you really challenge each other, and that's why this this growth and this transformation is so revolutionary. It's such a big change that happens inside of you, because there is a challenge here. There is like an opposing force here. If you think about the differences between the sun and the moon, there's a lot. I won't get into listing them here, but like there's a lot of differences when it comes to the sun and the moon, even the roles that they play in our life. A lot of differences. So I do believe the two of you challenge each other, and it's like you connect over these certain things. You see eye to eye, you're in perfect alignment over some things, and other things it's like you have a totally different view, you have a totally different experience, and that's mind blowing to both of you. It's like it really opens you up to a lot of new ideas, a lot of growth potential here, to see things from a completely different perspective. That's such an interesting dynamic. I really keep hearing same but different, same but different. I don't know what that means. Yeah, I wonder what that means specifically for you, because yeah, there's gonna be so much you line up on, and then there's gonna be some things that are like you're totally different. There's some significance for some of you regarding your zodiac signs. And I feel like for a lot of you, this is specifically your sun sign. It might not be though. We're here with the moon energy too. This might be your sun. This could be your sun or your moon. Interesting. I feel like the two of you, if there is some sort of significance when it comes to like your birth date, your sun sign in particular, it might be that your opposite signs, like Aries and Libra, or Taurus and Scorpio, Gemini and Sagittarius, and so on, opposite signs on the zodiac. And it could even be that you're very, very close to each other on the zodiac wheel. So your guides are for some reason highlighting some kind of significance or synchronicity around your astrological placements, and this could either be one of the things that you're very similar about or something you're very different about. So it just kind of depends on what your scenario is. It's like your differences are what allow you to create so much change in each other. And I feel like if the beginning of your connection is marked by some sort of huge change or like a shift, it's like it just feels like this this idea of this change, especially if this is how your connection first begins. This is a place where the two of you always come back to. Like, you always feel comfortable in this place of implementing changes and growing together because the two of you sparked such a change in one another right from the beginning. So this is a very, very powerful connection. Yeah, it's giving me all the feels. I feel like this is somebody that, like, once you know, you know. You might not recognize this at first. This could feel like something that kind of flies under the radar at first, but it's like once this occurs to you, yeah, you can't unsee it. It's like, you know, the significance of this connection. So the next portion of the reading, I want to look at what your strengths are and your weaknesses, both of you, in this connection. So we're going to start with you, and we're going to start with your strengths. What are your strengths in the soulmate connection? What are you bringing to the table? What are you excelling at? How are you helping this relationship to grow? What are you really good at, number 3, in relationships? Okay. So we have the Path card coming out for you. I love that. You have a really good sense of direction, I will say. And that could be literally or figuratively. So you might be somebody who's like, I know which way to go. I know which way is north. It might be literally that you have a good sense of direction. For some of you, this is figurative. You have a good sense of where you want to go in life. You have a good sense of where you are going, and also where you've been and what you learned, what you picked up along the way. So your biggest strength and what you're contributing the most to this connection is really, it's the sense of direction. I think that your soulmate can kind of rely on you to always know what the next step is or what the way forward is. Your guides are joking with me, and it's kind of distracting. Your guides are joking with me that some of you have an absolutely terrible sense of direction in the literal sense, and that was funny to you. So they're kind of laughing along with you because you're like, I couldn't find my way out of a paper bag. I can barely find my way home, is like kind of how this is coming through for some of you. But this really is more in a figurative sense. Your guides got a kick out of that one. This is in a figurative sense, so it's like you have a direction for this connection. You kind of like, you have a vision. You've seen where you want this to go. I feel like this is really something that is driving the connection forward. Your vision for this, not only for this relationship but also for your life, is driving this connection forward. Now, this can talk about your journey and your path in life even before this connection takes physical form. I think you are a person who has learned a lot, is how this is coming through for me. You have, you've challenged yourself to grow. You've challenged yourself to look for answers and to become the best version of yourself that you can be. And this is really a quality that your soulmate admires in you. I feel like in a lot of ways you have the ability to kind of shine a light in the dark places. You can light the path. I'm almost getting hermit vibes from this. So like Virgo energy coming through, but it's like, you know, the hermit is in the dark and in a reflective period, but he also has that lamp. I wish I had a hermit card handy to show you, but it's like he has that lamp that's kind of guiding him. It's showing the next step forward. And I feel like this is really where you are strong, knowing that next step. It's not so much that you always have to take a leadership role in this connection, although I do think that you are a good leader, but it's like you definitely have the vision. You have a vision that provides a lot of direction for your continued journey with your soulmate. So you provide some structure here. You provide some hope, a dream, a vision that you are able to share with this person. And your past experiences, your struggle and the lessons that you've learned are also a big asset to this relationship. Talking about your path and like where you've come from, what information you've picked up along the way, what you've learned along the way. This is something that is greatly appreciated in this connection, and it just provides a lot of guidance. So let's look at your soulmate's strength and see what your soulmate is offering to this connection, what they are excelling at is kind of how I'm thinking about it. What does this person excel at in this connection? Okay. That card really flew out. We have the Moon card. This card showed up in reading 2. I think in reading 2. I like that. I'm sensing a similarity here. Even the background of both of these cards, it almost looks like it's the same landscape. It looks like this could be the water off in the distance, and like that skyline kind of continues. So that's that similarity again. That's that energy that the two of you are really in alignment about, in total alignment. Yeah, so this is really, it's very interesting that like path is your strength in this relationship. And I was given the image of you lighting the path, kind of lighting the way forward. And then we have the Moon card showing up as your soulmate strength in this relationship. And the Moon kind of deals with things that are hidden, that are kind of under the cover of darkness. In this case, this is about illuminating things that are hidden. But it's a very different approach. So that's kind of that energy again of you and your soulmate being very much alike, but also very different. We were also talking about the sun and the moon being in complete alignment with the solar eclipse energy. And I kind of feel like this is a reiteration of that message, with you showing up in more of that light or that sun energy. This could even be Leo energy for some of you, and your soulmate kind of displaying that moon energy, which could be Cancer energy. I'm also getting Pisces vibes here. This is interesting. A lot of astrological references are coming through for you, and that hasn't been happening in the other readings. So I just wonder if that's really significant, or the two of you might be really into astrology or something like that, because I really haven't been getting those messages so much. It's like the two of you are kind of this dynamic duo, because the moon energy really helps to like bring emotions to the surface and process through them. And the moon can be about facing our fears, about bringing what's hidden from us into the light. And it's very emotional energy. And the path is all about moving forward. So I just get this sense of like processing and moving forward. And that's something that happens really naturally between the two of you. This way to like process through emotions, process through events, and keep moving, keep progressing, keep growing. Your soulmate is really good at sensing your emotional needs as well, and they bring them to the surface. It's like they kind of find the lesson or the value in whatever circumstance you're facing, and they reveal that to you, they show that to you. So I do feel like there is this similarity in terms of lighting things up, illuminating things, making room and making space to move forward. But like I was saying before, you have different ways of going about that. And I think these ways really do complement each other. So that's beautiful energy. And that's more of what was coming through. Same, but different. Interesting. Okay, let's look at your weaknesses now, or your challenges. So where are you challenged? Let me shuffle this deck. I don't think I shuffled this deck. Where are you challenged in this relationship? What challenges will you face in this soulmate connection, or what's kind of like difficult for you in this soulmate connection? Let's see. Wow. Wow. Okay. Okay, we have the the 7 of Wands. Your card flew like behind me, so it kind of threw me off a little bit. I didn't know I was going to be dodging cards. We have the Seven of Wands coming out for you in terms of challenges, weaknesses, struggle that you might face in this connection. So I feel like trusting this connection can be challenging for you at times, or maybe in the beginning. Sometimes we kind of have our defenses up, and we're used to having our defenses up. We're used to protecting ourselves. It's kind of like a very old, not very, well, yeah, an old habit, like a very well ingrained and familiar habit that can be hard to break. So I feel like once you know that this person is on your side and that they're not your enemy, they're not out to get you, I believe that these defenses will come down and it'll be easier for you to it'll be easier for you to continue to bring that wall down. Even when you start to feel it creeping back up, it's like you'll be able to fall back on the fact that you know this person wants the best for you. This, to me, feels like something that evolves over time, and that you're able to release any kind of defensive feelings that you have, or any type of protective energy, because this actually feels like a connection where the two of you are very bonded and very close. So it's like you're not going to really feel a need to have a wall up, and you'll learn that through getting to know this person. With this Path card showing up, it has me kind of focusing on, again, on your journey so far. And if there have been challenges, or there have been situations that you felt like they kind of left you feeling disappointed, or they left you feeling like you have to fight all of your battles, all your own battles, or fight your battles on your own and protect yourself, especially protect your heart. A lot of this is learned behavior, but it's like those walls, you want to let those walls down. It's interesting because this is the first time that in the challenges, this feels like something that is more of maybe a temporary challenge for you, something that might happen in the beginning of the relationship, but it kind of eases up and settles over time once you get to know this person and you trust the situation more. It's kind of like once you have more life experience with this person, you really start to feel that protective energy fade away, because this is somebody that is on your side. Like, that's how this message is coming through. Even in this challenge, it's like you're starting to learn that this person's really on your side. They have your best interests at heart. They want to defend and protect you, so you don't have to defend and protect yourself against them. And it's like it'll take some practice for you, but through repetition and through witnessing this person showing up for you and being on your team, you're gonna start to see that you can put that wand down. You can stop fighting. You know, you can become a little bit more vulnerable. You don't have to be protected like that. Now, because we've also talked about the differences between the two of you, this can show that sometimes there's a little bit of a challenge when it comes to coming around to their way of thinking. So in some things, you guys are on the same page, you're in perfect alignment. In other ways, you'll have differences, and it can be maybe a little hard for you to see things from their point of view at times, especially when your point of view is very different from theirs. This is kind of giving me the feeling of letting go of your own idea to kind of make room for theirs. So it can be hard to, release. This is just really just giving me a feeling of stubbornness in a way. Like, it's just really, I think this displays itself as stubbornness, or kind of digging your heels in at times and wanting to maintain your stance on something. And this can kind of point to like an argumentative nature a little bit. So this could be like wanting to fight, wanting to fight for your point of view, wanting to fight for your preferences or something like that, and just kind of having like a little bit of stubborn, little Taurus energy is how it's coming through. A little bit of stubborn energy here. Yeah. Let's look at your soulmate's challenges when it comes to this connection, where they're going to struggle. Wow. Okay. You had two cards. You had two cards pop out for your soulmate. So the first one we have is the Five of Wands. Same, but different. Oh my gosh. And we have the Seven of Cups in reverse. Okay. Yeah, you guys are a lot alike. You're a lot alike, and yeah, sometimes I think maybe it can cause a little bit of a challenge for you. It can cause a little bit of an argument, or kind of just the desire for both of you to like just maintain your stance, defend your position type of thing. I'm seeing a similar energy here. So that's just funny, because we're talking a lot about how the two of you are so much alike. So it's almost like when you do run across a difference that you have, the part of you that's the same, maybe the part of you that wants to not budge from your point of view, or you want to get your point across, or whatever it is, that part of you is the same for both of you. And it's like the similarity kind of shows itself when the differences show itself. I really hope that makes sense. You can both get a little stubborn at times, and yeah, there's definitely a similarity here. There might be a need or a desire for you both to argue your point if you have a disagreement, rather than talk it out as calmly as you could. And this isn't what would happen all the time, every time you have a disagreement, but this is where you might run into a challenge. So the bottom line is, yeah, the bottom line is, wherever you find that difference, you're also going to find your similarity. You're going to find the argumentative side, or the stubborn side, reveal itself. I feel like there could be like some heated debates, some passionate, we'll call it, some passionate debates that go on between the two of you. Also, because we had the Seven of Cups in reverse come out, so this might be something, I feel like the stubborn quality is on both ends, but this is indecision to me. So your soulmate might sometimes struggle with a little bit of an indecisive nature. They might be somebody who tends to get overwhelmed by a lot of choices, a lot of options, and it can kind of stall them. I feel like this is probably why they appreciate the sense of direction that you provide here with this path energy. Because when they do find themselves in a place of overwhelm, or like in an anxious place, you have a way of really calming them down and making things a lot easier for them to navigate. You might just help them to like see things more clearly, point out like what the different options are, what the best option would be, or something like that. Maybe just discuss it with them, but it does feel like it helps them to see things more clearly. So this person might struggle a little bit when they are overwhelmed. They might struggle to make decisions. And that is, that's a way that they're challenged in this relationship. So let's pull some oracle cards. I want to look now at the day-to-day with your soulmate. So what is like your everyday life with your home life is kind of how I'm thinking about it. And also any peeks into the romantic connection that we can get. I think we've already gotten some clues. There's definite chemistry here, and there's really like a pure love kind of feeling that we got from that rose quartz and that heart chakra energy. So very interesting there. I feel like there is a romantic, a really strong romantic connection here. So for your home life, for your everyday, we have the adversity card, and we're going to clarify that. My tarot deck. We're going to clarify this. This card says, I accept that challenges are the best way to learn. I'm already getting a vibe from this card. This card can come across kind of negative. It's not doing that right now. I'm actually kind of getting a feeling that what stands out to you is the way that you two are able to face life's challenges together and resolve problems together. We have the Wheel, the Wheel of Fortune. It's called the Wheel in this deck. Card 10 come out. Yeah. The way that the two of you are able to navigate life together, navigate challenges, problems, or whatever, I feel like almost a sense of gratitude, this sense of like being lucky. Lucky to have this partner. It's like you feel really lucky that you have each other, that you have someone to go through life with, you have someone to make life's challenges easier for you, someone to listen to you, someone to hear you out. Yeah. I feel like just the ups and downs of life are so much easier to navigate with your soulmate by your side. And there is like just this feeling of appreciation for that. And this is showing up in your, like your home life, your everyday life. So this is giving me the feeling that like there's a lot of comfort in your home life. It's like this is a place that you like to be. It can feel like maybe the world outside is challenging, maybe the world is crazy, but you have this sense of comfort. The fours. I'm being brought back to the fours. That's where that's coming from. Earlier we were talking about the feeling of like home being significant here, your home life being significant, or like being very comfortable there. And I think that that's what this is. It's like the two of you are a safe haven for each other, and you feel very lucky and very appreciative to have this person in your life, because as crazy as the world gets, you know, you can always come back to this person that has your back, to somebody who's going to help you to solve the problems that you're going through, or, you know, help you through any challenging times. I feel like when we're looking at your day-to-day life, the word that's coming to mind is teamwork. Is that one word? Teamwork is coming to mind though. Yeah, that like you work together to solve problems. You never have to face a problem alone. And that's kind of the vibe I was getting too with the Seven of Cups in reverse and the Path. It's like when your soulmate feels overwhelmed, when they feel like they don't know what decision to make, they don't know what choice to make, they know they can turn to you. They know that you will be there for them to like talk things through, to figure things out. And when you're maybe having a hard time figuring out what you're feeling, because I feel like their strength is really in this moon energy, which is very watery. So there might be times where you struggle to figure out what you're feeling, or to process through some sort of emotion, or it's just like you just need a shoulder to cry on. That's the role that they play. Very interesting. I feel like also this oh, that's interesting. Okay, I'm hearing that your home life, I must have missed something because we're circling back. I'm hearing that your home life, it is very harmonious in the way that like each of you has your own roles to play, and it feels like the two of you kind of stay in your own lane in a way. Like you get out of each other's way. There are certain things that one of you excels at and certain things the other excels at, and you just both kind of play to your strengths and work as a team. That's the tie-in. It's that teamwork. And this, I do think, kind of translates into your romantic life as well. Feels like there's reciprocity there. It feels like it's more of an equal give and take, that you each have your roles to play. One of you might be super romantic or like to do certain things to kind of like spice up your romantic life, and it's like you just let each other be who you are. I don't know, it feels very it feels like there's a lot of acceptance here in your day-to-day life. There's a lot to explore with each other. There's a lot that you feel you're on the same page about, and a lot that's different about you. And that's what keeps things interesting. But it's also like, it's a way that you appreciate each other. You appreciate like, oh, you're great at that, so I'll relinquish control and let you handle that part because you're really good, and I'm good at this thing. So yeah, it just feels like a really nice balance. And again, I keep coming back to this energy of like you're very happy, you feel very lucky to have this person in your life. So that says a lot, that speaks a lot to this connection, to have that sense of gratitude on a day-to-day basis. So I'm going to use a different oracle deck now, and we're going to look at how the two of you relate to each other in general, and also look specifically into your communication in this connection. So let's see how the two of you are communicating. Number 3, what's communication like? How are you relating to each other in this soulmate connection? We have expect miracles. I love that. Let's clarify that. Let's clarify that energy. I feel like your communication, it must be better than you thought it was going to be, or better than you've experienced in past relationships. It could be that one or both of you has had relationships where it's like the communication has been the downfall, and you just wish that the communication could have been more clear, could have happened more easily between the two of you. And it's like with this expect miracles, I just have this feeling it's like, oh my gosh, you might think it's miraculous how easily the two of you generally communicate. I was seeing that there could be a little bit of argumentative nature between the two of you, or this doesn't even actually have to be actual like communication arguments. It could just be stubbornness in general that doesn't even affect your communication at all. But in general, when things are running smoothly, it looks like the communication and the way that you relate to each other is going well. Like it's smooth. Okay, we have the 10 of inspiration, so that would be the 10 of wands, and it came out in the reverse. Yeah. This is like putting some kind of burden behind you, and I feel like communication could have been a burden for you in the past. It could have been like a real challenge for you in the past, even in this connection. Wow, yeah, even in this connection, if you've had a period of no contact, or if you experience a period of no contact with this person, this is like, once the two of you are together, you're putting that, like the weight of that behind you, you're putting the worry about that behind you because the communication is flowing. I'm getting that lucky energy again with expect miracles. So it's like you feel really lucky about how the two of you are able to live your life together, how the two of you are able to communicate. And there is, again, kind of this feeling of a willingness of being able to release control to each other, to surrender to each other, and that vulnerability. Interesting. Because we were talking about that with the 7 of Wands. So yeah, definitely there's vulnerability here. So the conversations that you have with this person, they're in depth. You can reveal your truth when you communicate with this person. You don't have to feel afraid that you'll be judged for what you say or how you feel. There's a feeling of acceptance here. I feel like also the two of you really listen to each other's, you listen to each other's needs. And not just, see, it's kind of coming through like you're able to communicate your needs to this person, and they receive that information very well. That's part of why your communication is so good. And it works both ways. You pay attention and you listen to what is communicated from the other about what they need in terms of this relationship. Really beautiful energy. The last portion of this reading, I want to look at how your soulmate would describe this connection. So let's see what comes through here. Kind of some opportunity here for, we don't know what would they say about this. It could get kind of spicy or kind of juicier. So how would number 3 soulmate describe this connection? We have balance. Wow. It's like they feel like you balance them out. They feel like there is there's an equal give and take. There's a strengthening of their weaknesses and vice versa. So interesting with that double 4 right from the beginning of the reading. Let's clarify this. Why is the balance card here? We have the 3 of Voices in reverse. That's the 3 of Swords in reverse. So I feel like, just like we were talking about putting the burden behind you with this 10 of Inspiration showing up in reverse, and that could have had to do directly with communication and kind of the burden of communication not running smoothly being put behind you with this connection. It's the same kind of energy here. This is like, this person feels like there's give and take in this relationship. And they feel like this connection has allowed them to put some kind of heartbreak, some kind of disappointment, some kind of like struggle is how it's coming through. Some kind of struggle behind them. Their past connections weren't that balanced for them, is what I'm seeing here. Their past connections never seemed balanced. It didn't seem like it was reciprocal. It didn't seem like the communication was there. It didn't seem like there was understanding there. And now in this connection, they are putting all of that behind them. So this is really showing that it's like they're able to heal. That's what the revolution is about, because it's like that's massive growth and transformation. So they're able to heal and put some of the stuff behind them because of the balance that they found in the soulmate connection. Beautiful, beautiful energy, number 3. Yeah, so I think I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and letting me read your cards. If you did enjoy this reading, if you resonated with any of these messages, don't forget to like the video, leave me a comment down below, and hit that subscribe button if you feel like it. And hopefully I will see you again in another reading really soon. Bye. Hi, number 4. If you were drawn to the blue apatite and the amethyst, this is going to be your reading. We're going to find out what life is like with your soulmate. So before we jump in with your first oracle card, I want to take a look at the stones that were selected for you. These stones were actually randomly selected for you. So we will talk about some of the properties that are associated with these stones so that we can see if their properties tie into your reading at some point as we continue. So we will start with the blue apatite. This is actually a really dark, rich piece of blue apatite. This is actually a stone that's known for clarity, producing a lot of clarity, and it kind of clears confusion. And then when we're dealing with amethyst, there's a calming effect associated with amethyst. It kind of soothes. It can soothe situations. It can soothe a person if they are wearing amethyst, and it is a stone that is known to help release fear and anxiety. So clarity and soothing. Okay, so we've got some themes here related to the stones that came out for you. So we will continue on with your reading and see what else shows up. So this first card is going to represent the energy that is between you and your soulmate, kind of what's holding this connection together, what is bonding this connection together. And we have card 12, Black Moon Lilith, and this card says mystery. Okay, very, very interesting energy to come out in the connective portion of this reading. So I'm going to say first off, I'm like, whoa, I'm kind of stunned because I'm getting this feeling that there's really intense chemistry between the two of you. A lot of sexual energy, you guys. So this isn't necessarily the part of the reading where we're going to look at that. We're going to look at your romantic life more later and see what messages come through. But there's a lot of sexual energy already coming through. A lot of attraction. Dare I even say sexual tension between the two of you? I wasn't expecting this reading to get off to such a spicy start, but there it is. There it is. It's like it cannot be denied. Some of you might, when you first meet this person, because it is coming through as tension between the two of you, so it might be that there's like this immediate spark, but maybe you don't know each other very well, or maybe the circumstances aren't conducive to kind of exploring that spark between the two of you. So it does feel like there might be like this intense, this kind of like building. Oh my goodness, this is intense. The chemistry and attraction, that's really being highlighted as one of the main connecting energies between the two of you. What's really interesting here too is that this Black Moon Lilith energy, with this like mysterious energy, this might be something where it's like you don't know a lot about this person at first, or you're wondering about this person. This could be even a situation where you've been really curious or been crushing on this person, or this person might have had their eye on you for a while before this connection really takes place. I just feel like there's some significance to there being some sort of mystery here. For some of you, I'm even picking up on, you might meet this person when they are in another connection or when you're in another connection, because with this Black Moon Lilith energy, there is sometimes kind of the energy of like, I want to put this the right way, but it's like the energy of like being the other woman or being the other man. And it's not that, look, we're not getting into all that. This is not about like any kind of infidelity issue. This is more to do with like, I feel like this person really catches your attention and vice versa. Even if when you meet them, they're in another connection, or even if at some point during the course of knowing this person, this could even be someone you have a past with and they've like gotten into another another connection, but it does have that mysterious energy. Oh, this is intense. This is intense. I feel like the intensity of this, it literally cannot be ignored, and that could be why why you feel so drawn to each other no matter what the circumstances are when you first meet each other. You really do feel drawn to each other. So if that resonates for you, if this is someone who like might be in another connection, if you already know who the soulmate is, I feel like that's the that message is coming through for those of you that might already know who this person is. You may have been in a relationship with this person. They might be in another connection right now, and that's why that's coming through. I feel like for those of you that don't know who this person is and you're just curious about like what life will be like once you meet this person, I wouldn't say look for that energy. I do think that there is an intense chemistry. In that case, there's an intense chemistry, and there's maybe like a mysterious air about them or about you. And there's like this desire to get to know each other more. There's this desire to figure each other out. Yeah, there's kind of like, it's like there's a spark between the two of you. And it makes a lasting impression. It's really that spark and that chemistry that bonds the two of you together. There's so much chemistry. The two of you kind of like, you vibe off of each other. You joke with each other. There's like this tension. There's this banter. What's really interesting is, just even the fact that this card is highlighting mystery, I'm starting to see why, like when I first tuned into your energy right before I started this reading, I was having a hard time nailing it down. And then it's like, it's so crazy that your card was a card that says mystery. So it kind of confirms to me like, whoa, why was I not able to even get much of a vibe on what this energy was going to be? And it was like, I think your guides were giving me an indication of what it was going to be. It's mysterious. And in a lot of ways, I feel like there's a lot to do with this soulmate connection that is just for you and your soulmate to know. And that's why a lot of that's not being shown here. Yeah. So the Black Moon Lilith energy can kind of talk about an invisible or an unseen force. Again, that's kind of mysterious. It's like a mysterious force guiding the way for this connection to unfold. So there's definitely a sense of destiny here. There's a sense of cosmic alignment, of things falling into place the way that was perfect for the scenario. It's almost like, I feel like when you meet this person, there's something that falls into place in a way that you know, like, I never could have planned this. This had to have been divine intervention. I never would have been able to plan and orchestrate the way that this came together. Yeah, I'm picking up on a really empowering side of this Black Moon Lilith card. This energy of strength is coming through. So like the energy between you and your soulmate is extremely strong. It feels like something that can't be explained. I kind of feel like where the two of you really connect is over having this shared feeling of like this bond, this union that you've experienced together. And it's like it's a bond that's so powerful that it almost can't be put into words. You don't know how to explain it to anyone else. But because the two of you have experienced this together, it's like you two get it. And it's almost like that's all that matters. We understand this. We understand this connection. That's the only thing that matters, because I don't know how to put it into words, is how this is coming through. So that is actually a major point of connection for the two of you, because it's like, this is something you've only ever experienced with this person. I'm getting like the way that this comes together is something unique to this, this connection. And there's like no way to explain it. There's almost no point in even trying. Is how I feel a little bit defeated trying to put this into words. It's just like, no, like this is for the two of you. This is for the two of you to share. So interesting. I'm getting like, it's kind of like a sacred feeling. So there's a sacred space between the two of you. And there is also this theme of self-realization and like soul expansion here. So it could be that there's like, this is a relationship that kind of causes both of you to discover new parts of yourself, to connect to another soul in a way that you haven't known was possible before this. That's probably why it's just like, I didn't even know this existed. How can I possibly put this into words? Is the vibe I'm getting. It kind of feels like it's something so private and so tender and so sacred between the two of you. And like I was saying, no one else needs to get it. No one else needs to understand. Not even me. Not even me. There's just, it feels like there's just so much truth to it, if that makes sense. There's something just so true, something so real, and something so right about it that only you get. Yeah, I hope that makes some semblance of sense. So in this next portion of the reading, I want to look at both of your strengths and weaknesses. So we're going to start with your strengths, and we're going to look at your strengths in this connection, what you're bringing to the table, what are you excelling at, how do you help this relationship progress, what is your soulmate value about what you're contributing here. So something that they really love about you, they really admire about you. So number 4, what do you have for number 4? Strengths. Oh, okay. Whew, I can't get a hold of it. Isn't that a theme? I couldn't really get a hold of the energy between the two of you because it's like, it's something special for the two of you, and now I can't hold on to your cards. You got the Crown. Okay. Wow. There is something very intense about this energy. The two of you are very intense, or it could be that the two of you are very intense together. I don't know if you're intense separately, if people would describe you as intense, but the energy is very intense. So when I think of the Crown, I'm thinking of royalty, and I'm also thinking of maturity. So there's something almost regal or poised about you in this connection, and your maturity, your level-headedness, and fairness is how this is coming through, is like the most important thing that you contribute to this relationship. I'm specifically picking up on a lot of emotional maturity here as your greatest strength. And it's like, this is something your soulmate highly values in you because you understand the importance of forming a deep emotional connection. Like that this isn't all about the physical. Important to note because there's intense physical chemistry between the two of you, and it's like, regardless of that, you understand that you want more. And it's like, I think they're meeting you, they're matching you in that way, because to value this maturity, to know that like you want something deeper, you want to not only explore the physical, you do with this person, it's like you really do, but you want so much more than that. And your level of understanding about where this person is, meeting them where they are, understanding their emotions, understanding who they are, that's impressive to your soulmate. That level of understanding is impressive to them. This is also kind of highlighting the crown chakra for me, which kind of speaks to your spirituality or your connectedness to like higher realms. And this is in addition to that emotional connection between the two of you. It's like you're willing to really give your all to this relationship. You're willing to even increase your spiritual capacity or your spiritual knowledge in relation to this connection. Some of you, this is a funny message that's coming through about this, and this is definitely less important than the maturity that's being shown with this crown. But some of you may kind of excel at bringing a sense of luxury or a sense of comfort to the relationship. So you might be someone who's always interested in like achieving the next level, or growing or accomplishing, living your version of an ideal life, or kind of living out the vision that you've held on to so tightly. I feel like for some of you, that's something that your soulmate really appreciates about you. It's like they love, you kind of introduce them to new things. So this could be like, this could be about the more material things of life. That's why I'm saying like this kind of side note, because the emotional maturity and the maturity in general is highly important and highly valued in this connection. But it's like also you might have like certain tastes, like you might like to eat at like really nice restaurants, or wear some sort of luxurious clothing, or it could be about like the pillowcases you use or something like that. And it's like you might just have these little what is the word I'm looking for? Just little things about your personality that you're able to introduce this person to, like, hey, you gotta try this. It's so delicious, or this is so luxurious, or whatever. So for some of you where that resonates, it's like you're opening your soulmate's eyes to these new things, to new experiences, and to like new luxuries. And they really appreciate that about you. They really like that about you. So let's look at your soulmate strengths. Wow. Okay. Their card just fell right out onto the floor as soon as I picked up the deck. So they had the star. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. This is more really, really powerful energy. I'm getting Aquarius energy here. Okay. Because it's making me think of the star in tarot. It's, whoa, okay. Your soulmate is a really big dreamer, is how this is coming through. I feel like you guys, it's like you bring out the possibilities for each other. You both kind of have a way of making things that both of you thought were only possible like in your dreams, that this was like in your wildest dreams these things could happen. It's like you have a way of making these things real, making these things tangible and possible for each other, and that's what this connection is doing. I'm hearing the song Wish Upon a Star. I feel like that I feel like this is because your soulmate is like, what they're really contributing is they are so full of hope. They have this kind of renewing energy about them. It's like, yeah, this is coming through as a superpower. It's like their superpower is like finding the silver lining, keeping hope alive, and like making the dream work is really where they excel. I also see you really taking center stage in their life. So it's almost like they've made you like the star, their guiding star, their North Star or something. You're really taking center stage in this person's life, which I love, because I was kind of getting that energy from the Crown. It's like I was getting the energy of like, you're willing to treat your partner like royalty. You're willing to do anything for someone that you love, and when that is reciprocated. And now I'm seeing that energy is definitely reciprocated with the star energy here, because you've taken like center stage in this person's life. You've become a central figure. You've become the person that is the most important to them. So you both see each other in a very high regard, and you both recognize each other's value. This person always really gives their all when it comes to helping you achieve your dreams. Like if it's something that's important to you, then it's important to them, because what they want is what is best for you. So your soulmate really excels at being a true partner, being somebody that stands by your side, and they love to build you up, which is so interesting. They love to build you up, and like, I feel like you play that role in their life too. Like they love to make you feel important. They love to make you feel special. They love to make you feel attractive and desired, and just make you feel like you're the only person that exists. I love that. I love that energy. Yeah, so we are now going to take a look at your weaknesses or your challenges. So for each of you, we've looked at how, like, what you're bringing to the table in terms of strengths, in terms of how you're benefiting the connection. But now I want to look at where you might struggle in this connection, what might be challenging for you in this connection. So for number 4. Okay, I just had 2 cards flip, so okay, we had these 2 cards flip out together, which is funny. They're both major arcana. We have the Wheel of Fortune And we have the Judgment card. You know what? Like, it's very interesting here because we're dealing with card 10 and card 20. So we have like the energy of 3, these 3 X's like representing 10 a piece. So I'm getting that energy of 3 again, which I was already picking up on here with the 12. 1 and 2 adding up to 3. So 3s might be significant to you in some way. This is interesting energy to come out in your challenge. 2 major arcanas. These can talk about like major themes in your life. So this could be even things that you've struggled with in your life that present a bit of a challenge for you in this soulmate connection as well. Very interesting. Yeah. I feel like both of these cards, I just sit with that energy for a second. I feel like both of these cards are really focused on transitions, changes, moving on to the next phase, or things changing. And it could be that that's a little bit of a challenge for you. I could kind of interpret this as a tendency. This is so interesting, you guys. I'm feeling like I can kind of interpret this as a tendency to miss or to not give as much focus to the blessings in your life or the good fortune that you have in your life. So this isn't coming across as being ungrateful. It's not that. It's actually really hard. It's really hard to nail down, as is this is a theme in this. It's like, I feel like because you really do notice and have gratitude for the things in your life. So this isn't like about you being ungrateful, but I feel like sometimes maybe in an effort to improve, to level up, because we do have this crown energy, sometimes in an effort to improve or to level up, we can kind of like turn our focus to the things that need to be fixed, to the things that are presenting problems, need to be changed. Like, for us to be happier, it would be ideal if this was different. So I think that sometimes this can kind of come across as you focusing on the negative. And I don't even think that that's how you see it. I think that this is just a way that you kind of gauge things. This is a way you improve things. But this can be perceived, especially like by your soulmate, because we're just talking about this connection. This might be something that's perceived by them as you looking at the negative. Yeah, I don't think that this is you focusing on the negative. I kind of get the sense that there's more of a goal behind this. This is more about improvement. That's the actual goal. It's interesting that this is showing up as your weakness. It's just very interesting. I'm trying to decipher this. It's like, I feel like this is your strength. And a lot of times that's the case. Our strength is also our weakness. When taken too far or when used in certain ways, it can show up as kind of a weakness of ours, or a point where we could stand some improvement. So I do feel like where you're challenged in this relationship, which is actually, like, oddly enough, kind of minor. It feels like this might be like a little annoying thing, but it's like, you might just, instead of highlighting the positive things about anything, about life, about how the connection is going, you might have a tendency to be thinking about how you can improve it, to be looking for that next, version of yourself, or more clarity, or a way to make a final decision about something. And it's like, I think it would be more beneficial to focus on the positive aspects of things. And sometimes that's literally just about how you say things. Like, it might be like just highlighting, like, oh, this is something I really like, rather than saying this is something I want to change. That's all I see there. Like, it seems like something that could be easily fixed, easily changed. Yeah, so that might be like a little bit of a struggle, or something that comes up as a point of contention in this connection. But this is really coming from, I'm picking up on your desire to level up, your desire to improve. For your soulmate, we have the 10 of Wands in reverse. I feel like your soulmate's greatest challenge is that they have a hard time asking for help. They're going to try to bear the brunt of everything on their own. They're going to try to put in all the hard work on their own. They're going to kind of like take the pressure off of everyone else and kind of put the weight on their shoulders, if that makes any sense. Like, they really will feel the impact of stress or being overworked or being overburdened, and they just tend to take on too much. So they might just have too many irons in the fire. They've just got too much going on a lot of the time. So this is something they struggle with. They kind of want to power through. They want to be strong. And they do have this really hopeful energy about them. So that's just so interesting, because it's like, I feel like that hopeful side of them might make it difficult for them to realize when a situation has turned sour, or when something has run its course in a situation. It might make it hard for them to see, because they see that final vision. They see like, no, this could still work out if I try, if I give it my all, or whatever that is. But it's like, they might not know when to quit. They don't know when it's not worth stressing out over anymore. And I think sometimes you kind of wish that they didn't feel like they had to carry all of their burdens alone. You'll probably find yourself encouraging this person to kind of let you know what's going on, or to ask you for some help and some support, because they're going to want to take everything on their own. They're very determined. But they can sometimes let that determination be their detriment. So or use that determination to their detriment. So it's funny, like, I feel like for both of you, where you were challenged, it's like, these are strengths of yours. These could be seen as strengths. Like this determination on your soulmate side, that's a definite strength that they have. But when they overwork and overburden themselves, it becomes a little bit of a weakness. And like, on your side, for this level up, like, you have your eye on the prize, but it's like, you just want to make sure you're noticing everything that's great, everything that's already working. Interesting. Okay, let's move on to your oracles, and we're going to be looking at your day-to-day life with your soulmate. I'm calling this home life, so just the everyday. And you can also maybe get a peek into your romantic life, although I think we've already touched upon that as we were talking about all of that passion. So let's see. Number 4, day-to-day life with your soulmate. What does that look like? And really, this is from your point of view here. So it's like, how are you feeling about day-to-day life with your soulmate? We have humor. I choose to focus on the lighter side of life. This is, that's too much, because I feel like this is what we were talking about with the star energy. This person is very hopeful, very glass half full type of person. Very, like, they encourage you. They kind of just encourage you to even be in a good mood. So I feel like this is so appropriate. They have a good sense of humor, most likely. I'm going to clarify this with some tarot, but I just feel like this person makes you laugh on a day-to-day basis. So things are joyful. Things are joyful, like at home with this person. This is someone you live with. Like, yeah. Let's see, clarify this humor energy. And just this idea of focusing on the lighter side of life, I feel like that's something that's very important to your soulmate. That's why sometimes, like, just even the idea of like improving or finding fault, it can kind of trigger this person, because they really want to focus on what's right, what's working, what's good. We have the 3 of inspiration, so 3 of wands. I feel like the 2 of you are able to really inject some kind of like humor and a lot of fun into the most mundane days or situations or periods of life. Like, it's your normal day-to-day life it's so much fun. It's providing so much like laughter and joy and like almost entertainment for you. I think you find this person really funny and very entertaining. this is someone who makes you laugh on a daily basis. I kind of feel like it's hard for you to get mad at them a lot of the time, because they will crack some joke and just totally like change the mood, and it's like, oh, I can't be mad at you, that was too funny. That's how I feel. That's how I feel like this is. It's like yeah, I really do feel like their positive and joyful mood is like, it's very uplifting for you in the day-to-day life. And with this Three of Inspiration, it's like, I feel like the two of you are always like, you're hitting that next milestone. For some of you, this could be starting a family, but it's like you hit that next milestone. You're always like, always having progress, because the Three of Wands talks a lot about plans and maybe even taking some action on those plans. This can also talk about overseas travel. So there might be some kind of travel in store for you with this person, a lot of adventures to be had, a lot of planning, and a lot of fun to be had. And I'm also getting this feeling of like being in flow. There's this kind of vibe of like the two of you really just flow well together. You vibe well together. You might feed off of each other. And especially when it comes to this humor, like it's like you kind of feed off of each other and maybe joke around a lot. I could even see this, I could even interpret this as like practical jokes and just like fun things that kind of keep things interesting at home. It's a lot of fun. It's so funny that this kind of playful energy came out for your day-to-day, because we really did, like, your romantic life was like kind of the first thing that showed up for you. So it's like, on top of all that passion, you have a lot of there's a lot of humor, there's a lot of lightheartedness, there's a lot of fun that the two of you have together. And this Three of Inspiration is the Three of Wands, so that's also passionate energy. So the two of you might be passionate about travel, or passionate about like accomplishing your goals, or getting to that stage of your life, like where you can settle down, where you can retire, where you can move to where you wanted to, or something like that. It could be that planning those future things really excites both of you, and it really brings you a lot of joy. Okay, let's look at how the two of you relate to each other in general, and then also your communication in this connection. Like, how do the two of you communicate? Let's see. We have manifestation. Interesting, interesting. All these starry vibes. Let's see here. I did say your person was a dreamer, because I was getting that with the star card. So they might be like very, very skilled in manifestation. The two of you might be manifesting and kind of working on your dreams together a lot of the time, and maybe that's a lot of what you are discussing, planning for the future and manifesting what you want to bring forward in your life. Let's see. Clarify this manifestation card for me, please. Wow. Okay. Okay. Well, you got the Muse of Voices, so I don't know like what direction this card came out, and because these cards are actually printed sideways, so we will go with it. I usually don't read reversals for these because of the way they're printed. I don't know if it came out in reverse, but yeah. I feel like the two of you have a way of communicating hope to each other. And that's kind of a big part of your relationship, is sharing your dreams, communicating your truth. I feel like you guys, like you both excel at expressing your dreams to each other and helping each other manifest what it was that you had in mind. Like you can really easily share your vision with this person, and you don't feel like they're gonna judge you for it. You don't feel like it's gonna be something that they don't want. It's like, I do feel like you guys are in alignment about a lot of this stuff. So it's like, if you share with this person, I have this dream, I have this desire, I don't know what it could be. I want to go back to school, or I want to start a family, or I want to move to this place. It's like they're on board. Like I was saying before, whatever is important to you is important to them. It becomes important to them, and making that dream come true for you is very important. And I feel like the two of you, the way you're able to communicate your dreams, you don't feel shy about it. You don't feel timid about it. You're able to really share your heart, share your innermost desires with this person. There's also a real practicality and like an honesty to the way that the two of you communicate with the Muse of Voices, which would be the King of Voices. Sorry, the King of Swords. It's like there's a practicality in terms of putting some of this stuff into action or being very straightforward about how you can achieve these dreams. So it's not just like just talking about what you wish would happen. I feel like there's a lot of action toward this. I also feel like talking to each other, this is really important, you guys. I feel like you gain more clarity through having conversations with each other. So you know how sometimes you try to tell somebody something and it's like, you kind of wish you had never opened your mouth because they make it more confusing to you. They maybe approach it from like an angle where you're like, oh, well, now I'm even more confused. I hadn't thought about that. Or if you bring that up, I'm going to have a lot more anxiety about this or whatever. I feel like you gain a lot of clarity when you sit down and talk to this person, your soulmate. So it's like, if you have something on your mind, if you have something you want to figure out, you know, you can go to them for clarity. You know that through communicating with them, through bouncing ideas off of each other, through connecting the way that only you two know how to, because it's like, it's still a bit of a mystery to me. It's like, you can get more in touch with what you want. You can get more in touch with where you're going. You just gain so much clarity. This person has a lot of wisdom to offer. They have great insight. They know you, and that helps a lot for them to approach like any conversation as like, I know you, and I know that that's going to make you uncomfortable, or I know that this is what you really want and that's going to make you happy. They know you like the back of their hand is how this is coming through. They really have taken the time to know you. I think that's because of this communication. That's how you, like, that's a major bonding moment for you guys. It's like, because of this communication, you really have gotten to know each other on such a deep level. Okay, this final portion of the reading, I've already started shuffling and I haven't even told you. This final portion of the reading is going to be from your soulmate's perspective, and we're going to find out how your soulmate would describe this connection. So if they had to put it into words, which I think we've already established they can't, but let's see, how would they describe this? Number 4, how would your soulmate describe this connection? Okay. Oh my goodness. There's that number 4 again. I feel like that was a theme in one of the other readings. We have card 4, support. Yeah, if that doesn't say it all. If that doesn't say it all, I'm going to clarify that card, but this is the energy we've been dealing with the whole time. The two of you support each other in such a beautiful way. You really support each other's dreams. You really support each other's dreams is like the main way that this is coming through. Let's clarify that. Let's clarify the support card, please. We have the 10 of Voices. So that would be the 10 of Swords. You guys, like, it in this soulmate connection, it's like you're really there for each other. You're kind of like each other's support system, and the way that your soulmate's describing this connection is they see you as their cheerleader. They see you as someone who is a supporter of their dreams. And that's why I think they support you so much, because it really does go both ways. You really do both love to like build each other up, encourage each other. You see the best in each other. So they see you as someone who is their biggest cheerleader. You're kind of like that person that's there for them at their darkest times. You still have so much love for them, even in their darkest moments, even in their most challenging moments. And this could be somebody, from this energy, I'm feeling like this is somebody who may have struggled with feeling worthy of love and support in their weakest moments. They might feel like, yeah, that's the 10 of Wands in reverse. That challenge that they feel like they have to be strong. They feel like they have to do it all. They have to know it all. They have to be of some sort of value to like deserve to be loved. This is, yeah, I kind of feel like that was the mess. Like I was kind of missing something there. I feel like it's deeper than just that they take on a lot of things and don't ask for help. They actually do this as kind of a way to feel worthy. Like they like to prove themselves. They like to be seen as somebody who is valuable. And I think that what is going on in this connection is you see them as so inherently valuable that it's really opening up their eyes to their own worth. And it's like, they just feel so much appreciation to have somebody there for them that loves them unconditionally, that loves them no matter what they can provide, no matter what they can do. They just feel very loved by you. That's probably going to break this habit for them too. So that's encouraging, and that's a very healing energy. Yeah, you showed them such an unwavering love. It's like they now, in this connection, they're feeling like they have someone in their corner. And I don't think they felt that way before. They kind of felt like they had to bear the weight of everything on their own. So it's like they're so appreciative, and how they would describe this connection is that they always have someone who will believe in them and who will dream with them. And that's the main thing that stands out to your soulmate in this connection. That's gorgeous. That is so gorgeous. And it's like, it's making me feel so emotional. That's just such a beautiful thing. And I feel like it's happening on both sides. It's like the two of you are really there for each other. You really believe in each other. You really want to see, like your soulmate, your partner shine. You want to see them grow. You want to see them be the best they can be. And it's like, to have that coming on both ends is such a beautiful thing that would create such a strong connection and relationship for you. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there, number 4. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and letting me read your cards. If you did enjoy this reading, if you resonated with any of these messages, don't forget to like the video, leave me a comment down below, and hit that subscribe button if you feel like it. And hopefully I will see you in another reading really soon. Bye.